of 10. We are back after being in holiday in purgatory. The router's fully up and running, so it gives us a chance to chat shit and about the goings-on in wrestling. Tonight we're going to try something slightly different to our normal mark out of 10 episodes. But first, I am the Mark Smart Shields, and my co-host. He is the Nick to my can. He is the Black Country Wet Dream. Acknowledge the wrestling podcast tribal chief, the housewife's favourite heel, Hoxie. How we doing, Hoxie?
Acknowledge me, baby. Mate, I am so excited for tonight. I can't I was gonna say I can't put it into words, but that's why that's why we're here, right?
Well, that's the episode finished tonight, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks very much.
See you later. See you next week. No, I'm so gassed up for tonight, and that's what the cool kids say apparently, gassed up. But I'm really excited. Like you say, it's going to be very different tonight. Very, very different. Do you want to explain? Do you want me to explain what we're going to do? We're going to do it.
I mean, I've got notes here, but no, fire away. Let's
for the,
it. Let's see what
for
happens.
the first time ever, on Mark out of 10, there will be no lists today, this evening, this episode. There's going to be no lists. So we called a little bit of an audible. It was only a couple of days ago. We have the lists in place. Believe me, we were going to do obviously the greatest heels to follow up on the greatest faces to follow up on the greatest heels show we done. But there has been so much happened this week and going to be happening this week that we're calling a little bit of an audible, because I think if we'd done the list as well as talking about all the stuff that we're going to talk about today, it would be like 6 hours
later.
Yeah, it'd be crazy. So we're gonna do it Wrestlemania special, right? So we're amongst other things, because there was some big stuff happened this week, wasn't there?
Yeah,
Shields?
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Yeah, as Hawk says, we've got no list this evening. We are pushing the babyface episode to next week, which is absolutely grand. But as Hawk says, it's Mania season. We've been talking about it. It's on the road to WrestleMania. It's only fitting we go through the card, we give our predictions, and we thought on our thoughts on the build and how we would book it potentially. There might be stuff like that going on, but also there was a massive interview this week, Hawksy, with CM Punk and Ariel Helwani that we're going to look in detail. We're going to dissect it a little bit, and
Which was
really excited about doing this.
Great, by the way.
Fantastic interview.
Phenomenal.
Interview.
Obviously, we will go into it in much more detail. But if you haven't seen it, go out of your way to watch it. It's on the it's the MMA hour kind of thing, isn't it? The MMA pod ESPN thing or whatever it is on YouTube. We should probably have checked that out. Actually, let me have a quick look.
You
carry on, and I'll come
it's
back.
Definitely
on
YouTube. You just type in Ariel Helwani CM Punk, it'll come up, and Ariel Helwani.
MMA fighting on SBN is the channel. Yeah, 935,000 views already. It's been on for a couple of days. That's pretty decent.
He's big time though, right? I mean,
yeah.
Helwani sort of gets a bad write up from the other side of the WWE fence, basically from the EW fans. It's like Tony himself, badmouths him, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's like a sellout, etc. But
have you listened to the Ariel Helwani and Tony Khan interview? By the way,
it's just
I say interview. That's a great question, Ariel. I would love to answer it, but I'm not gonna fucking answer it. So fuck you. It's 2 hours of that. Well, not even 2 hours, basically. Yeah, it's crazy. Fucking idiot.
Yeah, he's...
Oh dear. Great question, but I can't answer that. Great question. That's what I'm going to do tonight. It's going to be the shortest podcast in history. We should have made the list. Every time you ask me something, I'm just going to say it's a great question, Shields, but I'm not going to answer it. It's
fucking crazy, right?
I'm going to go the TK route for this podcast. Fuck me. Crazy days.
So, if you haven't watched it, it was about just under 2 hours that Ariel interviewed CM Punk, and he asked him all the questions that we've sort of discussed over the last 4, 5, 6 months or whatever, however long we've been doing this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all it's what people want to know. Now there are the podcasting hand.
I was getting myself back in focus. It went all weird then, so I needed to use the hand.
It's really interesting. It provides great insights into what actually happened. Now, what I will say, it's coming from one source, right? In terms of CM Punk, you may believe him, which I do. Right, I'm going
I
that
was
way
going to
out
say,
straight
are
away.
you prefacing this?
No, but I mean,
yeah.
for journalistic integrity, we're going to say
Where are they?
we
We've got a guest coming on.
we've got to take it at face value what he's saying. It's coming from one side. It is very much there is two sides to every story. However, fuck the Young Bucks, fuck Tony Khan, fuck Jack Perry, right? In short, okay.
Yep.
Whether you love CM Punk, whether you hate him, whether you're indifferent to him, Punk is big time, right? He attracts attention wherever he goes. I mean, look at his debut in AEW, look at his debut in WWE, and look at the fallout, obviously, from him getting injured in WWE as well. You know, he is someone that doesn't mince his words. I'm sure we're going to talk about that as well during that, and yeah, it's really, really interesting. Now, there's loads of different things we can touch upon. I don't know if you've got different sections you want to talk about, Hoxie, so I'll let you sort of lead this bit because you're the massive CM Punk mark. I'm just a slight mark, but that's fine.
So the way that I thought we would speak about this tonight is sort of kind of follow the interview a little bit in terms of like how he segmented it out. For a start, I mean, when you look at this, you look at him for a start, like in terms of his physical appearance, in terms of his face, his hair, his beard, excuse me, his build, like his complexion, like everything. He looks a million times like better. He looks younger. He looks like he's sort of his colour's back. He's been tanning. Like he looks less gaunt. He's always got obviously the old bags under the eyes, which I think I'm fucking following him. To be fair, but like he's always had that sort of thing. But you just look, his hair's darker, his beard's darker. Like he looks about 10 years younger, and it's fascinating. It's fascinating, really.
I'm not sure younger's the right word. I understand what you mean. He just looks healthy. He looks more of a vibrant, old school CM Punk. But you can see he's aged. You know, up close you can see he has definitely aged. I mean, time doesn't stop for anyone, right? But I totally understand.
If you looked at a picture of him when he was at Wembley, when he the last fucking fuck you like wave he was doing when he went back to the tunnel, and then you look at him when he came out at Survivor Series, that you would think Survivor Series was before Wembley.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
It's mad. It just shows the show. He's just not dealing with all that fucking bullshit, basically. And he says quite a lot of times, obviously, when they go through the interview and stuff, he's saying like that didn't really bother me. It was like I can understand what he's saying. It wouldn't have bothered him, but it would have affected him. You know what I mean? You can't go through all that shit and deal with all that shit without having some thoughts and some issues with it. But he looks like a different guy.
It's something really simple. It's even like with a haircut, right? I always felt that Punk at the end of his AEW tenure he looked dirty. You know what I mean? It's like
grubby.
He looked grubby, yeah. But it's like he came back at Survivor Series and he had the fade, and then obviously he's grown his hair out a little bit, slicked back. It's like the sort of haircut that we all grew up with when he was in WWE. The first, it's a throwback. Absolutely.
They sort of touch on it a little bit, don't they? He says you have different styles and different eras and stuff, and he said it's a bit of a throwback, and it does look like that era, that 2011, 2012, 2013 slick back Punk, doesn't it? It's kind of cool. I like stuff like that.
You know, he set the modern record at that time, didn't he? I mean, the world title was 434 days. That was his reign, so in modern times.
Big
so,
deal,
is
Phil.
That throwback? Is that something that's
One Bill Phil?
One Bill Phil, absolutely.
In a land of counterfeit books.
Yeah. And, you know, he says he's back where he belongs. I think Punk is the prime example of sometimes the grass isn't always as green on the other side. You know,
I we'll talk about that now. So yeah. I think he was sold a bill of goods that was a million % the complete opposite of that. And we've spoke about this before, like the way that Tony sold this to a few people was very different than what the guys who were sort of Tony's inner circle situation with the Bucks, with the elite guys and Bucks and Kenny and all that. that's the reason why Cody isn't there. That's the reason why he fucked off, because it definitely wasn't what he signed up for and what he wanted to do and what he wanted to be involved in, which is what was sold to him. He realized that probably sooner than everybody, really.
Yeah.
Cody is one who cares. CM Punk is another one who cares. He genuinely cares. He's not there to make friends. He's there to make money and to do business. And he's all about the wrestling business. He said this before. You listen to this interview. He goes into it in more detail as you sort of go through that interview as well. The guys who are going there for the money are there for the money, basically, and to have their Dave Meltzer 5-star matches. And you can, it's telling. It's very, very, very telling, because all of the metrics, you said, like, there's two sides to the story or whatever. Like, you can look at it statistically. Like, we will be doing this at some point soon as well. When he was there, he cared. He put effort into what he was doing. When Cody was there, his segments were always the good shit. Like, they were always the meaningful shit. Not necessarily the good matches, but the meaningful stuff that invested in you and you wanted to be involved in it, right?
Yep.
All the guys that are there now, they're having the worst houses in the history of wrestling. Like, we're talking like late 80s, early 90s WCW level house,
For
like
someone that's
drawings
on
of
network
houses.
television, absolutely, yeah.
We're having
Horrific.
bad ratings. We're having poor pay-per-view buys, but he's spending the most amount of money. And they're not there for the business. They're there to have their e-fed wrestling matches, right? And that's one of the issues, right? That he genuinely sort of cares about what he's doing, and I think that's one of the main reasons why it was really sour very quickly, because he was sold this by Tony. You're going to come in and we're going to sell out. We're going to do all this stuff, which they did, and then he let everybody get in the way and fuck it all up, basically, which is just shit. Very shit.
Very, very shit indeed. We'll touch upon this as it goes on. Like you say, we'll follow it up. I suppose the first thing we talk about is Punk's injury, because that was the next thing they talked about, his tricep. And it was basically Ariel asked him how he was getting on, how's his recovery going, and Punk says that, he's doing pretty well. It's a case of WWE are actually protecting him, not coming back too fast, which was really interesting.
He made a very, very, very big point as well by saying, for the first time, someone's looking out for me rather than me, like the other way around. And there's a big theme that goes through this, and we'll touch on it a little bit later, because it's he sort of touches on it a little bit later, and it's very, very poignant, very, very poignant. But yeah, he said he's being protected from himself. He said he's ready to go, right? He said he wanted to be involved in Wrestlemania because he feels so good, but he just shows he's got lots of people around him who know better, who are protecting him from it, and fair play.
Yeah, there's lots of comparisons in terms of the tricep tear from what happened at All Out in 2022. Apparently, this injury was worse. It hurt a lot worse. It was so yeah, it was interesting.
He said the other arm, it just felt like an elastic band snapped in his arm.
Twang, yeah, exactly.
And then this one, he said he seldom uses, was it excruciating or whatever? But he said this one was very, very, very painful. So very different. Very different.
The first major shock for me in this interview, and I don't know if you were the same, was that post brawl out, he said that no one from AEW had any communication with him for 6 months. That's crazy. So when he injured his left one in AEW, Punk apparently we've got to say that, right? Again, we'll preface it.
Allegedly,
Punk had to pay for his own surgery, find a rehab centre, and do everything for himself. And obviously, the flip side at WWE's done everything. They've covered everything. They've got what he says. The difference between the two companies is structure, protocol, and professionalism. That is a damning indictment into how AEW operate, right?
Very. When they make a big thing about protecting their talent and looking after each other and making sure it's that and Tony Khan has said this on one of the presses they did, one of the fucking little Mark fucking interview things they do at the end of the shows. He said this is the safest place to work. It's the safest wrestling company to work in history, and he said that on the same presser like about 5 or 6 times. And we all know, and more things that are coming out about it are sort of backing this up, that's absolute bullshit in more ways than one. Not necessarily physical safety, but also fucking mental safety as well. Chris Jericho, allegedly. So there's lots and lots of different things that are going to come out about this, and I think it's a bit of a floodgate moment, maybe potentially, to open up the dialogue and see what's going on. And as a wrestler, I would say good, because it might be a catalyst for some fucking change to actually make a difference and to start protecting the fucking talent rather than this independent contractor fucking bullshit that's been put on it. Like, it's they tell you where to go, they tell you what to do, they tell you what to wear, they tell you what to say, they tell you where to be and when. You're not independent, you're employed by these people. So the protection, if there's anything comes from it, then fucking I'm bang up for that, definitely.
It's a different generation, right? The independent contractor thing, you would have got away with it. Well, they got away with it in the 70s, 80s, 90s, etc. It's a totally different generation. People aren't going to fucking work 300 nights a year for fucking no additional benefits than just getting your paycheck. You know, it's just not going to happen.
No.
So yeah, it's it's going back to that safety in AEW thing that Tony keeps on going. You know, and it's not just the whole CM Punk thing in terms of being looked after. In the ring, we've talked about it. Darby Allin, you know, unnecessary risks. You know, Jeff Hardy getting knocked fuck out of by Sammy Guevara, you know. And then I think most recently in the latest AEW, I haven't seen it, but apparently Jay White, like his entire body weight landed on the head of Billy Gunn, I think it was.
Gunn. Yeah. It's like Sammy Guevara and Matt Hardy with the chair throwing and the concussion. Fuck me.
It's just like
breaking of the legs on the Ring of Honor show, which is AEW. You got fucking hell. What's his name? Penta's brother, Ray Phoenix, with his arm. Lots and lots of patch.
You know, and accidents happen. I'm sure you're testament to that. You know, it's like, it's not ballet. You know, it's not the thing.
It's not. You know, it happens.
Shit happens. But I think someone at some point you've got to say, wait a second, right? If you look at the serious injuries that have happened in WWE over the same amount of time that AEW's been in live, you know, it's chalk and cheese, right? I mean, I think the most serious injury I can think of is Big E. The neck break, like from the botched suplex. Right, I can't think of any other major injury or injury that could have occurred, like, genuinely.
Charlotte Flair. I think that's more of an accident, like an in-ring accident, more than like stupidity. If you know what I mean. The thing with WWE, they don't take many risks, and I think there's people in place. Obviously, we'll talk about it with Jack Perry a little bit later on as well. There's people in place who are maybe there to stop it, but they don't necessarily get to stop it. I think in the WWE, the buck stops with somebody, and if they say no, then no means no, right? You know what I mean? It doesn't mean go out and do what the fuck you want, because there's consequences to that. I think in AEW, there isn't necessarily a buck stop anywhere. And I think when you do go out and do something, which is another thing that we'll talk about, if you sort of go into business for yourself in any way, shape or form, you're going to get, you're not going to get in trouble. Fucking, what's his name? Andrade went to beat fuck out of Sammy Guevara, and he still didn't get the sack. It's just like, it's interesting, right? It's an interesting dichotomy. It's the difference between a play toy and a company, a business, maybe.
And I think I'm more and more worried with, you know, Will Ospreay, fantastic talent. We've talked about that over the last few weeks. Again, if you go back to his match with Takeshita, you know, and like the suplex spot in the corner, you know, that's an unnecessary spot, right? It's like, why? It doesn't. it could have went horribly wrong. We're talking like fractions here, right? Until that he could have been like paralyzed. He could have died, for a spot that looks shit, to be perfectly honest. It's like, yeah. So I don't know. I'm sort of concerned in terms of there is no one that actually has the guts or the balls to say to these indie little fuck shows, no,
But
don't
the
do
thing
it.
is, though, mate, it got a 5-star rating with Meltzer.
That's true.
Like, who are you to say anything? You know what I mean? These lads,
That's
they
true.
went out there and they got a 5-star rating from Meltzer. So who are you?
Yeah, who the fuck am I?
Who are you? Nobody. Fucking bullshit.
Cunts.
Fucking
Anyway,
Mark.
moving on. So next up,
Beep. Beep that for fucking TikTok.
I ain't fucking beeping nothing.
Fuck you.
So next up on the discussion was the return. Yeah, it was the return and the lead up to the return of CM Punk to WWE. Do you want to take that away?
Yeah, dude, I was like, I knew it came together quickly, but I didn't realize how fast.
Yeah.
Like it was Thanksgiving, wasn't it?
Yep.
So the show was on the Saturday night, wasn't it? Survivor Series was on the Saturday night, and they pretty much like done a deal like the Wednesday, Thursday by the sounds of things. You get CM Punk does some for CFFC. It's like a Chicago based promotion, I think, and he was going to go to the gym, going to go and do something for CFFC, and then Nick Khan rang him, and he was like, "I can speak to you. I've got to go and do this thing, but I can speak to you like on Monday." So this was like the Friday or the Saturday. He said, "I'll speak to you on the Monday." Yeah, cool. And he basically said like, "Oh, we're thinking about bringing you in for Royal Rumble," and CM Punk was like, "Well, what about Saturday? What about Survivor Series?" And he was like, "Oh, have you got like non-compete?" And he was like, "No." So
I wish I knew that.
this is how much of a yeah, I wish I knew that. This is how much of a shit show this is. So obviously the non-compete is pretty much in. I mean, I know it's in every WWE contract. You can't work on a televised promotion for 3 months after you get released or your contract expires. So it's like it's an old school thing Vince put in place. Like, oh, if they don't see you for 3 months, they'll forget you ever existed, which is just fucking bullshit. But in AEW, this obviously doesn't necessarily seem the case. Now, I know a couple of the guys have had a non-compete, haven't they? But Punk could have literally, when he got fired or sacked or whatever, and I don't know whether it is because he got fired with cause or whether it is whatever in different contracts, literally the day after, he could have went to WWE.
It's crazy, right?
Which is an absolute mind fuck for me. Like in a professional world where there is this much rivalry between these, there's more rivalry from one side than there's on the other, but there's so much rivalry now between these two companies that wouldn't have been a slam dunk thing in place. With somebody like CM Punk, I probably would have fucking given him a 6 month compete. You know what I mean? Because it's Punk, right? It's crazy, but he said, look, he said, I don't want to give any leverage away, but the money, the business is Saturday. It's Chicago. It's fucking Punk's. It's Punk's hometown. It's Survivor Series. It's one of the big shows. They don't have to wait. They don't have to have all this bullshit. And they were saying like he was watching some of the shows on the telly when they were mentioning best in the world and like all these little Easter eggs and stuff. He said like, should I be tanning or something like? And he had no idea. He said he didn't have any contact with them at all until like the initial phone call was the Friday and the discussion started on the Monday before the show. So that's 5 days to put together his contract before Survivor Series, and they still didn't know it was 100% going to happen until like the day off or the day before or something.
Well, that's what he was saying. In case of he didn't actually sign because he was on the phone to the lawyer and he signed it, and then literally he walked through curtain, he walked through gorilla. It's like that's crazy, right?
Just amazing for a start. It's a great story.
If it's true, it's fucking incredible. But it's
nuts.
But you know, I can believe it from him. You know, he's not going to take the chance. And you know, Ariel asked a question. You know, the rumor was that he hadn't signed a contract before, like it went out. Yeah, and he was like, "There's no chance they would have let me go out of live TV
No,
without a contract. Absolutely no shot."
No, not
It's
at
like,
all.
fair enough.
You could have said and done anything he wanted, and there'd be no repercussions whatsoever. Yeah, that's crazy.
So
But
apparently,
he said one of the go on.
no,
Go
sorry,
on.
only go no, go after you.
I was going to say that like one of the main things that he wanted to do before he had any discussions was to talk to Hunter.
That's exactly what I was going to talk
Quote,
about.
yeah, it was to speak to Triple H, which we've heard for a long time, isn't there, that there's like long-standing heat, and there was heat back in the day, and all the stuff that they were shooting on the square when they were doing promos, and we've all heard the Phil and the Paul promo, we've all seen it, and the you only care if you're on top and all that bullshit. We know all that sort of stuff, and it's like blurring the lines. Is it real? Is it not? Whatever. But there has to be some truth to this, for him to say that. Like he said, we're both men. We bury the hatchet and move on and have a discussion. We're both men, like they're sort of getting over themselves, and like different sort of, they're in different chapters of their lives, aren't they? Both of them. Yeah. I mean, Triple H has said this before. They're in different chapters, and obviously Punk definitely is by his tone and sort of tenor of the interview. But I loved that because he didn't say anything like, "Oh yeah, me and Triple H, we had heat and we had problems that we had to solve." He sort of said, "I need to speak to him. We need to have a chat and go from there." And it said, by not saying anything, it said everything it needed to say. And I think he had quite a lot of moments like that in this interview.
Yeah.
By not necessarily,
he doesn't have to
telling the story, if you know what I mean. Like it, just by what he said or what he didn't say. Like he didn't answer about stuff. Like just going back to the injury thing, when Ariel asked him about he said, "Did you injure your arm in the match, or did you injure it in the aftermath?"
Can't talk about that.
And he was like, just the look on his face, it's like, fuck me, the fight. It was the fight.
Yeah.
And they didn't fucking pay for his surgery, and they didn't look after him, and it happened fucking backstage with these fucking dickheads running in and beat the fuck out of him.
This comes up later on, isn't it? It's a case of there is an NDA in place, but it's not for anything I did.
For anything I did.
Whoa!
Yes!
But it's like the answers he gave. It wasn't him deliberately being awkward, unlike what Tony did with Ariel Helwani, right? It's more of a case of
he was answering, but he wasn't answering.
Yeah, but he knows the stories that are going about on the internet, and by simply not answering, he is giving credence to the stories that are out on the internet. Yeah. So we know, right? We now know what's been happening. So it's really interesting. I think it's quite cool as well when they're talking about he wanted to speak to Triple H, Paul Levesque. Triple H actually said, "No, I want to FaceTime you. I want to see you."
Yeah, and don't want to speak to you on the phone. Yeah,
so that's quite cool. And
see, that I think that shows
growth.
That shows
a growth.
Yeah, but I think it's like in life, you can speak to anybody on the phone, but you never ever have that real connection with somebody until you see them or you're face to face. Most of the time, face to face. So you need to see people's reactions and people's facial cues and all that sort of stuff. That's why this podcast is infinitely times better now, because you can watch us on YouTube and on Spotify.
So obviously my camera's here, Hawks' face is here, so that's why I keep on looking this way, because I'm looking at Hawks.
That's what I keep doing. So, but it's like you need to understand what's going on, don't you? You need to see people, and I think that shows how much of an absolute fucking baller Triple H is. And I guarantee Punk would have been like, fucking yeah. Let's and just having a proper conversation with somebody face to face it'll tell you more. You can see people's reactions, you can see people's responses without them having to say anything. If the phone's dead, you don't understand how they're feeling about something. If you can see their face, if it's shocked or angry or stunned or whatever, it's like, okay, you know what I mean? It's great.
Yeah. This also comes down to the comparison between WWE and AEW, right? Triple H has done that. He says, "No, I want to FaceTime. I want to squash whatever heat we had," because obviously it's well documented. CM Punk got served papers as he was getting married, etc. Shit like that. Shit like that. Whereas with AEW, again, it's well documented, whether it's true or not, that CM Punk wanted a meeting with the Young Bucks after the brawl. It's I want to have a sit down meeting. Let's squash it. Let's build from it. And the Bucks said no.
They refused. All of them did. Not just the Bucks, the Elite. Yeah, we need to use the lot of them. They refused to have the conversation, to have a sit down.
You know, and it just shows the professional side of AEW
Yep.
in comparison to WWE. So there we go.
High school shit.
Speaking of high school shit, you know, we then moved on to the Raw visit. So Punk famously visited the backstage of Raw in 2023, and
Can we just go back to the return?
yes,
Just really
okay,
quickly.
sorry, yes,
Sorry. The conversation that there wasn't many people who knew about it, which I think is, I love stuff like that because it kind of makes it. We all know wrestling's fixed. We all know it's
predetermined.
Fixed. It's not fake. It's fixed. We all know it's quote unquote phony bullshit, which is what Phil Brooks and CM Punk referred to it during this interview. But I think it adds a level of like sort of just for the business side of things, not necessarily for the layman fan, you know what I mean, the regular fan. I think it adds like a level of sort of realism to it that people's like Seth Rollins' reaction to him coming back wasn't a predetermined like, oh, you need to be this angry when he comes out. No one clued him up.
Real.
It was real. That was a shoot. His response and his reaction and Drew's response and like all these people are like even when he waves to Randy and Randy's like, hey, yeah, like that's real. Like that's not like, oh, if I come out and I'll wave and then if I come out and Seth, you get really angry and like Triple H is booking it and all these guys like together like planning what they're gonna do. Like he said you wouldn't get past two hands if you were to count how many people knew. And that would have been Triple H, him, Nick Khan, lawyers, like you ain't got many left after that. Like, and it's a little bit like the thing when Lesnar beat Taker. There was like 3 or 4 people knew, like Vince, Paul, Brock, Taker, and the referee. It's like 5 people knew, like about the whole thing, like who was going over. And I just think it adds like another layer of it makes it visceral and natural and real to a certain degree. And I think we've had this conversation before. Personal issues draw money. The realer the best, the better the shit will be. And I think we'll talk about Raw a little bit later on. It bleeds all into what is going on now. And I was messaging you last night. I was watching Raw last night. I was messaging you last night. Well, just really quickly, I'm so excited. It just makes everything better. It makes it all better. And when it's good, there's nothing better than wrestling. When it's good, there's nothing better. And I'm just all jacked up. I love it.
It's like how many times have we said, even in the run up to the Royal Rumble, we had no idea what was going to happen. And that for the first time in years. It's like every other year you could say, right, he's earmarked to win it.
Yeah.
But you know, when you've got a Cody and then you've got a returning CM Punk and then you've got like the outsider like a Gunther or a Drew McIntyre, it's like
all the shit with the Usos or whatever.
I don't know what's going to happen here.
Is The Rock going to come back at number 30 and just fucking kill everybody? Like,
it's just like you say. When it's good, there is nothing better, and you know. I'm not going to compare. You know. I've been on the fence and I've said, we'll give AEW a chance. We'll try and be a positive thing. Fuck AEW, right? You've got no fucking idea what he's doing, right? Nope. WWE is the wrestling company, right? I don't care what anybody says. Come at me, fucking suck my big toe, right?
Right now,
AEW,
WWE is the best professional wrestling show company, and it's not even in the same stratosphere.
It's not even close.
Not even in the same. Not even in the same industry. It's not even in the same industry. AEW are a new thing. They're not pro wrestling. They're not what they laid their stall out to be. And WWE are shitting all over them. All over them. Mate, when you're signing $500 million or $5 billion deals or whatever it is with fucking Netflix. AEW can't sell a fucking... They couldn't sell pussy on a troop train, to quote a legend. So yeah, it's crazy.
AEW are an indie show with a TV network deal. That's it.
With money. Yep.
That's it.
Yeah. Billionaire owner and your fucking Outlaw Mud show. It's crazy. Yeah. And it's sad because it's frustrating because we had so much hope.
To be fair, I can't wait for the Tony Khan and a pole match. That'll be fucking great, won't it?
It'd be Tony. I was going to say something. I'm not going to say it. Go on.
We'll get cancelled.
I can't say it. I'll probably lose my job, but yeah, go on.
Right, okay, so yeah, going back to the visit of 2023, and again, yeah, so going back to 2023, we're not going to go into like how it came to be, goes backstage. Obviously, it's just to visit friends, etc. But you know, I can't believe Punk got heat for that. Like going backstage in a Raw in 2023.
It was what did he say? What was it?
Betrayed.
Betrayed. Yep.
You
Come
betrayed
on.
us. It's like
It is a bit of a that's the only thing that I could sort of pick on with what like Punk did or has done recently and be like, no, I probably wouldn't necessarily have done that. It's just if it was the other way around, like they'd get fired very quickly. You know what I mean? I just think it's yeah. I
he
think
said there was a hypocrisy, right? Because he was saying people were allowed to go on the show, like Billy Gunn went on to like the Hall of Fame and stuff, right?
yeah.
You know, so it's that hypocrisy in terms of just because it's Punk, he was backstage, no one was there, he got asked to leave, and they were betrayed. It just seems like such a cheap shot. It's like fucking, how old are you? It's
Yeah, you
crazy.
can go out and fuck up on your own TV show, but when someone goes to visit some friends, then it's really bad. But I don't know. I think he could have been a little bit smarter than that. I think he's smart. He probably knew what he was doing. It's probably just maybe adding
It's
another
building those
layer.
bridges, right?
Yeah, potentially. I don't think Punk needed to go to a Raw or whatever it was, a SmackDown show to like remind them that he is still there and he could potentially. I don't think it was that. I think it was just him. I think probably just a big fuck you, basically, because he can, because it's Punk. But it wasn't necessarily the smartest thing to do. There would always be a little bit of an asterisk next to that for me. But there you go. Maybe I'm just a bit different. I think about things a bit different. But there we go.
Just fucking different.
Yeah.
Then obviously, like he's made his comeback. He's entered the locker room, and then it got onto the stage of talking about, well, how is WWE in comparison to how it was? And interestingly, he said it was a much friendlier environment in WWE now.
And he edited himself as well, didn't he? He said, "Oh, if I'm not going to say friendlier. Fuck it, I will say friendlier." And you can kind of see the point he was making, right? You look at the guys back then. There's lots of stories about stuff, and it was a very different. I mean, he said it was a very different sort of setup back then, wasn't it? So
Shark Tank, super competitive and a judgmental attitude that he said was brutal. That's a quote that I put down there. So,
I mean, you look at who was there at the time when he came in. Was it 2000, 2008 he came in? 2007 maybe?
I mean, he's made his main roster debut with like DX, right, in that Survivor Series match. It's like...
You look at who would have been around at that time. You've got your JBLs, you've got your Takers, you've got your Cenas, you've got your Triple H's, you've got whatever, whoever. Your Batistas probably would have still been there potentially. Fucking everybody who there's ever been in that pool of like Hall of Fame talent, your Jerichos, your fucking whatever, Ric Flairs, all them lot. That's a who's who of wrestling history. Never mind like just that period of time. And there's lots of stories about shit. There's lots of issues with the politics and all that sort of bullshit. We've spoke about this before. That's what makes wrestling fun, and it makes a lot of the stories interesting and stuff. So you can see the point that he's saying. It's a very different setup now, isn't it? I think it's obviously it made me think when I was listening to this. I was thinking about, you know, we always say like, oh, these fucking guys who they get signed up from fucking college because they could run fast and they've never wrestled on the indies but they're coachable. Like we've spoke about future stars, like coachable stars and that. And you think like the flip side to that is people who aren't tainted by the business.
Yeah.
People who aren't brought into the bullshit of the business. People who aren't taught about the bullshit of the business. People who are team players, because a lot of them come from team sports. People who are maybe likable people, because they wouldn't just get signed on athletic ability; they'll get signed on personality as well. So there is a flip side to that, and I was really thinking about that today, because I'm we've spoken about this before. I'm really in that mindset of like, oh, these fucking jumped up fucking dickheads who get signed from NCAA to just go and because they can jump high or whatever. It's like, but there really is another side to that, and I think it's maybe think about it and realize it a little bit.
I think what's important is you don't want it to go too far, right? I think
In a mixed balance.
Yeah, I think having people like a CM Punk in the locker room, having like a Kevin Owens in the locker room, someone that has sort of cut their teeth in the indies, an AJ Styles, right, is going to be really important for the younger generation of talent, because it keeps the sort of historical aspect of wrestling, right? In which, there's that traditions. Thank you, I couldn't think of the word there. It keeps the traditions there, and I think that's really important. Again, I think that's what AEW is lacking. I think that's what a Bryan Danielson or an Edge or an Adam Copeland should be doing, but they're just outnumbered, right?
Yeah, that's literally what it is. I was going to say I think Daniel Bryan or Bryan Danielson, I think he can see his future. He knows he hasn't got very long left in the ring. I think he can see his future with having lots and lots of dollar signs next to it by being in charge of there. Yeah. Tony's already come out and said this, so he's not going to do anything. He's not going to rock the boat. He's going to be, yes, Tony. Yeah, I think that's a great idea, Tony. Yeah, 3 bags full, Tony. And I think Edge is, like you say, he's got his little bit. He's probably happy to get a second crack at everything, or a third crack at everything. And he's probably not going to do the same. He's probably got 2 years left, and he'll be off to TV again or whatever. So, but the guys who are in that company aren't wrestling people. They're indie people. Yeah. They are they're all the old fucks, the young fucks. It's that crew of people, and all the guys who are wrestling people, like your FTRs and your Ricky Starkses and your, obviously Cody went, like, you mean all these guys who are actual, who have sort of been there and done it, who would have got that those traditions and that mindset. Like, the only outlier really is MGF, and he's just got there on just pure talent by being the fucking best they've got, basically. He's still in that mindset. It's
but he learned psychology from the greats, though, right? It's like he said himself.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, he's the outlier, really. Like, he's a young guy who sort of was in that mix, but he knows how to do things like the right way, if you know what I mean. But it's like, if
you look at WWE in the past, right? It's like Vince McMahon, for all his flaws, and he's got a lot of them, right? But he wanted to be one of the boys. He wanted to be a wrestler, right? So he had that sort of ingrained in terms of traditions coming from Vince Senior. In terms
he was brought up in the business. He was brought up in
the business, and then
from ring crew up.
Even the sort of the people underneath him, there was like easy it was the Jim Cornettes, the like the booking committee were all bookers in their own right. You know what I mean? Pat Patterson,
Briscoe, Jim Ross, Russo. Oh wait. Yeah.
Well, and then obviously you've got it nowadays where you've got like Triple H as the head honcho, you've got like Paul Heyman there, you've got Shawn Michaels who's done at the top ends of the business in terms of performers, and then you've got the agents as well who are always fucking the producers of the matches. But then you go to like a WCW if you go back further in time, right? And then you had the likes of Dusty Rhodes, you had the Tony Schiavone's, etc. And then the turn came when the fuckwits like Vince Russo came into the business, and that's when you see the downfall of WCW. And AEW are being very, very fortunate at the moment because Tony Khan he's just a fan, right? He's not ingrained in the business. He's just playing with these toys, and that's where the worry is. And we've had this discussion before. Where's this going to go with AEW? Unless there's significant changes, maybe a Bryan Danielson being in charge is going to be the best thing for the company, but it needs more than him there, man.
Can you see Daniel Bryan being a booker? Can you see Daniel Bryan booking 12-month-long storylines throughout the card to sell pay-per-views? Can you see that?
The AEW roster don't want to do that. You know, and Punk said that himself. They want to turn up
Yep.
once a week, do their match, fuck off home. That's it. They're not interested in learning their craft. They're not interested in that. And I mean, if I'm honest, Daniel Bryan is an amazing in-ring technician, but his matches lately have been fucking horrendous. Like, I have no interest in watching two wrestlers sitting cross-legged in the middle of the ring slapping each other. No interest. Doesn't interest me whatsoever.
No.
Now, they could be the two best things, and I guarantee that spot is going to be in the Will Ospreay Bryan Danielson match at Dynasty.
Probably. Yeah.
100%. Because it's been
It'll
in
be
the
a figure
last
four
three.
attempt or whatever. Yeah.
It's been in the last three. More famous is with him and Zack Sabre Jr., but even with Shibata in the last couple of weeks and stuff, it's been exactly the
Shibata
same
loves
spots.
it. Yeah.
You know,
It's like I said, they're not, and Punk said this, they're not worried about selling houses, drawing houses, selling pay-per-views, like selling merch, or you mean actually making money. All they're worried about is having their matches. And we've said this before, matchmaking will get you somewhere, but it won't get you very far. There will be a point where the matchmaking will stop, because we've seen the matches.
seen them all.
And even when you haven't seen the matches, you've seen the same kind of match, and that's that smart crowd that, like I said, they're making it for the there's 830,000 people who watch AW every week, regardless of what happens, regardless of who's on there, regardless of what match is on there. There's about 830,000 people every week that will watch Dynamite. They have about 100,000 people who watch them on pay-per-view every time they do a pay-per-view, because all they want to do is watch New Japan, but on American telly with English commentary. And that's literally what it is. It's the smart indie audience. It's the people who are bored of WWE. But 250, 300,000 of them went back and haven't come back in the last 12 months. So there will be more that will follow them. There will be a butts in seats moment. Guaranteed there'll be a butts in seats moment. And the AW, if they haven't already, they will jump the shark big time. Big time.
AEW has spent at least 30 million on three superstars like per year with Okada, Will Ospreay, and Mercedes Moné, and they've had what, a 25k uplift in viewership. That's around it. So, you know, it's funny you say that about they want to watch like New Japan. And I've been thinking the last few times I've watched Dynamite or Collision or Rampage or whatever, and I always thought the crowds are dead, right? But they're not dead. It's like a Japanese audience, you know, where the Japanese audience are like in their usual shows. They're very reserved, very quiet. They'll applaud when something crazy happens. But apart from that, the things that I've watched anyway, it's very reserved anyway. So that's exactly what it is. And it just doesn't translate well to what we, the wider wrestling audience, know what a wrestling crowd does, right?
I think you're partly right there. There isn't many people there. That's the thing. Too. So they have got a big old building. They have 10, 15,000 buildings every week, and they have about 2,000 or 3,000 people in there.
6 at a push.
At a big push. Unless it was a big event. You know what I mean? Like they got lucky with Sting, but Sting sold it out. They didn't announce any matches, I think, and it sold it out. It was just Sting's last match, and it was sold out. So, and it's North Carolina, so of course it's going to. But it's you can hear a fucking hamster fart sometimes in some of the matches in there, and it's it's brutal, right?
It's not good. It's not fucking good. But yeah, just going back to the Punk interview, obviously, so we went on a bit of a tangent there. It was like he was saying WWE is not the same, and it was interesting that people have actually said to him, well, obviously he's noticed that it's sort of a more laid back, more relaxed, and people have actually said he was the catalyst for that.
He was the
catalyst for that change.
Yeah,
and you know, we're CM Punk fans, but they're not wrong, right? I mean, he sort of broke the mold a little bit in terms of what we expect happens in WWE. It's like it's interesting.
He was the hero they wanted, but not what they needed, or whatever the fucking saying is. At the time, you don't realize. We've said this before. We obviously, I'm a huge fucking Punk mark, but I didn't realize like he had to go away. He had to go and sort of like disappear. It's fucking Batman.
Yeah.
He had to go and hide in the shadows and like be that guy, and then come back, and everything's fucking amazing. If he stuck around, it probably wouldn't have been the same, or it wouldn't have.
Yep.
It wouldn't been necessarily made that much of a difference. It's. I mean, we definitely wouldn't be talking about all this shit now if he hadn't have gone away and come back. So
Absolutely.
it's great, right? Fair play, Phil. Cheers, Phil.
And
Cheers for the
then-
content, baby.
Appreciate it. We're not done there.
No.
He then went on to talk about Vince McMahon. Now, I properly belly laughed at certain points of this fucking bit. It was quite funny. It was a case of he was coming back and he met up with he went to NXT.
He went to the Titan Towers, didn't he? He went to the
and
gym.
he met Vince in the gym, and Vince like gave him a hug and says welcome home, blah blah blah. He goes, let's connect after working out, and then that didn't happen. And then Ariel goes, did that actually happen? He goes, nah, stuff came up. I thought that was
Stuff
fucking
came
brilliant.
up, Ariel.
Stuff came up, Ariel, and he started pissed himself laughing. It was
Brilliant.
just,
Brilliant.
I love the fact how at this particular part, he just, again in typical Punk fashion, he just said what he thought, right? He felt that the business is better off without Vince. His behaviour was evil. You know, it's just, he didn't, what was it? He didn't see any like real life like abuse or anything. It's like he wasn't shitting on anyone's head precisely.
He wasn't walking around backstage shitting on people's heads like we didn't see it. He brought up Benoit as well, by the way.
He did,
We can't skip across that.
Yeah.
Which I can imagine like the WWE press guys just like, like just literally losing their minds. But fair play to him.
Yeah.
Fair
It's
play
true
to
though,
him.
right? I mean, the comparison is valid. You know, it's really, really valid.
Very.
And I think it's more so worse than the Benoit thing. And obviously, what Benoit did was absolutely horrendous. But you know, they've sort of got rid of him from the history books. How the fuck are they going to do that with Vince McMahon?
They just can't say his name.
They just,
you know, let's say his name anymore.
It's crazy. It's and you know,
fucking Voldemort, isn't it?
Yes, it's crazy. He shall not be named. The quote that I've got here is, "He ruined his life, ruining other people's lives. Ruining other people's lives." Part of me is like, "Good, we got him. Now shuffle it into the basement." That's what Punk said. So,
can you sum that up in any better way than that? By the way, like one or two sentences, like that's you can't really nail it in less.
No,
apart from me, he's a piece of shit. Fuck off or whatever. But that's not a very, like nice way of putting it. If you know what I mean, like for the masses, he ruined people. He ruined his life by ruining other people's lives. It's just
it's poignant.
Very.
Let's not talk about McMahon. Overall, it was a positive interview, right? So we're just going to talk about WrestleMania again. He was talking about how does he feel, you know, coming in as a semi-retired wrestler, like how does he feel about people taking spots and stuff? And you know, it was really interesting. He came in and said that he doesn't want to take anybody's spot. He doesn't want to do that. He wants to work.
So that was one of the main conversations when he was discussing with Khan and with Nick, with Saint Nick and Triple H, wasn't he? So I don't want to. It happened to me 10 years ago with The Rock, and I don't want to do that to anybody else. But he realizes that he's a fucking big deal, right? He realizes that he's money, and to be a top guy, you have to work with top guys, or to become a top guy, you have to be working with top guys. And he's the one thing that I found all the way through this, John, just really quickly, like how fucking grounded, and how like based all of his like answers and discussions were and opinions were. I've never heard CM Punk talk so fucking good about anything, ever. Like it's like we're all like, I mean, he would have been my age when he fucked off. 35,
How depressing is that, right?
Don't, because it really is. He would have been my age, and I'm a red person on the green, amber, and red scale. I'm red. I'm I'm outspoken. Who'd have thunk it? Nobody would listen to this would think I'm outspoken. I'm opinionated and I'm very passionate about things. And sometimes I let my feelings get in the way of my reactions and stuff. And I think I hopefully in 10 years' time, don't think I would be that, because I would sort of got past it and learned through it. So we all change and we all learn, but 10 years, he's just become a different guy. Like he's still CM Punk. He's still got the same opinions and the same outcomes and stuff. He just said it in such an amazing way. It's amazing.
I think
So
he
grounded.
put it over himself as well. It's the case of, I think he's transitioned away from being CM Punk the wrestler to being more CM Punk the booker. You know, he's got that booker mindset, and I think that does help a lot. You
That's
know,
where the money's made, though, mate. The money's not made in the matches. The money's made in the booking, right?
So, I mean, and the testament to that is the fact that, you know, Punk believes that the original plans were for him versus Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship. And
plans change, pal.
Yeah, and it was interesting. Ariel asked him, would you have been content with that? And he goes, yeah, because there's stuff he could have got his teeth into, you know, there's real life issues, you know, and you said it yourself, you know, real life, it draws it, right? That's what happens. And I think Punk Seth Rollins would have been fucking cracking. The match itself would have been great.
Yes.
The build up to the match would have been phenomenal.
Yes.
I mean, you can see, and again, we'll talk about the sort of feud and run up to it when we talk about Raw in a little bit. But, you know, what Punk's doing with Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre just now is fucking phenomenal as well. You know, it's like, it's so good. And
we're getting a similar build than what we would have got, just with an extra person in there. Exactly, yeah. It just makes it fucking brilliant. Yeah, it's
so
great.
Fucking good.
It's great.
Would you have been happy with Punk versus Seth Rollins?
Yes, yeah, 100%. And I know it would have been for that, like it's the Mickey Mouse belt, isn't it? But I think, I think Punk would have. Rollins has always got the poison chalice, been given this belt, like the workers' belt, and just been given a fucking fake title, basically. I mean, they're all fake, you know what I mean? It's just a fake fucking piece of shit, a gimmick title. I think if Punk won it, it would have added some level of like credence to it and importance to it, and credibility. I think we might have got the same if somebody like a Gunther had won it. I don't think we'll get the same thing if Drew wins it, which we'll talk about a little bit later on. But I think if we had that match and Punk would have gone over, you would have thought, right? Yeah. He would have gone over. I think he would have elevated that title to what they need it to be, an actual credible title, not a we need to make this thing up because Reigns doesn't want to work on a Monday or whatever. You know what I mean? Or doesn't want to, he wants to work one show a month or something. So yeah. But I would have been happy with it, definitely. Would have been like for all the reasons you said. It would have been a good match. It would have made sense. They would have had some fun. They would have sold. Like it would have been, it would have been good. And the ice of the promos and stuff would have just been fucking brilliant. So yeah,
so
gloves off, boys. Crack on, get involved.
On you go.
Yes, please. Where do I sign?
Yeah. Take my money.
Take my fucking money, indeed. Yeah.
Okay. So we talked about WrestleMania. Then we went on to the real nitty gritty, right? We talked
the good shit.
The good shit, the All In, the Real Glass, the Jack Perry. Take it away, Mr. Hawks.
So he said it wasn't his idea to change the two shows, which I mean, I didn't necessarily think it was anyway. But they done it. He said as well the Collision and Dynamite thing wouldn't work. It would still be bullshit. Everyone would still be getting in their way. It's not going to solve any problems, which obviously it fucking didn't because we're here. But he had Tony Schiavone come up to him and say, I need your help. We've got Jack Perry, who's going to go away on a holiday, vacation, or whatever he's going to do for a month. He wants to do a spot, a real glass spot. He said, I've spoke to him and he's cussed me out. We've said no. One of the doctors has spoke to him and he's cussed him out and said no. One of the other agents and the production guys. So he's gone through like 4 different people and told them to like fuck you, I'm going to do it. And Tony said like, I need your help. And CM Punk has rightly said, which he says a couple of times through this, through the interview, if I have to come and sort this out and I have to sort it out, you're not going to like the way that I deal with it. If I have to, I need your help, Tony. And it's Tony Schiavone. You can't say no to Tony Schiavone. He's like one of the nicest guys ever. So he went and sat down. He wanted to do a spot where they put it was him and Hook, and they wanted to put like a fucking metal bar through a
rental car window.
A rental car window, the windshield. And Punk just explained to him, like, we don't do that here. If you want to go and do that, like, you go to Wednesday night and do that. We don't do that sort of stuff here. It's a rental car. There's stuff's happened in the past where they've done stuff to the rental cars, and like Hertz or Enterprise or whatever have said we're not going to rent cars to pro wrestlers anymore. So you're damaging everybody else by wanting to do your stuff. It's not going to work. You've got doctors telling you no. Like, it's not going to work, basically. Okay, I just thought it would be cool. I was like, I get it. Like you said, I get it. I was that guy once. I wanted to do like cool stuff and that, but you think about the bigger picture, we can't do that sort of stuff. And he said he wasn't swearing at him. He wasn't angry with him. He wasn't aggressive towards him. He just had the conversation. They worked it all out, and they thought that was it. Nothing was going to come of it. Fast forward to Wembley and Crimea River. Yeah.
Basically,
crazy.
He came through. Jack Perry came through the curtain at All In, right? And Punk just asked him the question, "Why do you have to do this internet shit? The stupid internet shit?" And then Perry said, "Do something about it." And Punk was
got
like,
a problem with me. Why don't you do something about it? So Jack Perry's talking to a trained mixed martial artist, by the way. And I know everyone can lol on fucking Punk, but he did it. He got in there, and it's more than any fucking lot of you lot would do. Yeah, he would eat him up. He would eat him up.
He goes, "I thought I was doing the responsible thing. I just choked someone out a little." It's so good. So good. Things
he said it was the Chael Sonnen thing or whatever it is. He said, like, just don't let people get too close to you. Like, if they're going to step up on you, like, you gotta go. Like,
yep.
Yeah. That's the responsible thing.
So good. Samoa Joe basically just said, "Let him go," and Punk goes, "All right." And then basically, once Punk let go of Jack Perry, he told Tony Khan, "You're a clown. I quit." And then went to his locker room, right?
Didn't try and kill him. Didn't jump across the table to throttle him. Didn't pick up a fucking knife and try and stab him or get his gun out. Didn't threaten him at all. Said, "I'm done with this shit. You're a clown. I fucking quit," and walked away.
Went to his room. He wasn't going to go out, you know. And then Samoa Joe, Jerry Lynn, who was producing the match, came in. The referee, the fans, like that's who all sort of got him to actually wrestle the match. Now you were there. You were there at All In. Good match.
Great match. Yeah, great match. And it's not because like a Punk mark. Like in terms of the show overall, it was one of the better matches of the night because they went out there and they actually put on a wrestling match, a professional wrestling match. Crowd were into it. Everybody was into it. The news broke like very, very, very quickly after the match as well. Like the guys who were sat in front of me, within probably 10 minutes of the match after, they were like, "Fucking holy shit, have you seen this?" And everyone was like, what's going on? And it was like, yeah, Punk's just had a fucking fight with Jack Perry backstage. We were like, what the fuck? Like, you could almost hear like a hum go around the crowd, if you know what I mean. It was mad. It was mad. So it got out very quick. Very, very, very quick. It got shared. So almost too quick. Where's my tinfoil hat? Where's my tinfoil hat? Where's it at?
I don't know what you were suggesting there, Huxley. But I mean, going back to the sort of unprofessionalism of AEW, you know, Punk mentioned the fact that when he arrived in London, he had to get the tube to the arena. Yep. It's like there was no car to pick him up. There's no transportation.
Their top guy, the guy, tippy top, mainstream, biggest star they've ever had, and they ever probably will have. And they didn't have anyone there to pick him up from the airport.
It's crazy, right?
How is that even a thing in 2024, 2023 at the time? How is that even a thing?
It's insane.
Fuck, man.
So, absolutely insane.
They went out there, had their match, went backstage. Jack Perry got told to leave. He got told to go. Punk didn't. He went back and a guy came up to him, security guy, said, like, "What are your plans for the rest of the show?" So I was going to have a shower, stick around and watch it and see what's going on and stuff. He said, like, "Do I have to leave?" And the guy was like, No. And he said, like, is your job going to be harder if I stay? And the guy's like, yeah. So if I'm going to fuck your day up, like, I'll just go. And this is one of my favorite parts of this whole interview. He went home and got fucking Nando's for loads of the guys, and just
So
waited,
good.
and then waited for them to finish, and then they had a load of chicken. And like, even Ariel Helwani was like, "That's a great spot, right?" And he's like, "Yeah, man, the peri peri." I was like, "What the fuck?"
What's going on?
We said this before. They all love Nando's. Like this big shout out to you, matey, because I know how much you love Nando's, love mate. I don't understand. Like Cody spoke about it. The Undertaker, for fuck's sake, has spoken about. He's been spotted in a Nando's when he's been over here doing a tour. Like, why do they love Nando's so much? It's fucking fascinating.
It's so good, right? It's so good. It's unreal.
Sorry, just it's honestly my favorite part of the interview is just when he said Nando's. I was like, what? I was like listening to it when I was driving. I was like,
What the fuck?
Crazy
So,
days.
The famous line, "You're a clown, I quit." That was the last time he spoke to Tony Khan, apparently.
Yeah.
Nothing else was said. Everything else went through like the lawyers, etc.
Tony didn't reach out to him, didn't have a discussion, hasn't spoke to him since. He came out on television, on TV, and at a show, live in front of a crowd, and basically said all that, like, I've never feared for my life at a wrestling show until that night, and all that sort of shit. Like, obviously, it was just a massive, like, character assassination attempt, wasn't it? Really, but I just think we've had the Brett screwed Brett thing. That was more of a fucking work than it was a shoot, because that was the day Mr. McMahon was created, on television anyway. But you can't see. I mean, for a start, Vince probably would have goozled Punk anyway. They probably would have had a fight and sorted it out, and the day after they would have fucking been hugging each other and made a load of money based on it. Like, that's the difference, isn't it? We've said this before. There's a big difference between Tony and lots of other business people. Like, you have to. And he said he's not a boss. He's like a nice guy. He's a
nice guy.
Yeah. He said that's a quote verbatim, isn't he? Tony Khan's not a boss. He's a nice guy, and that's the issue. It's the inmates, literally the inmates running the asylum, isn't it? And I know that's an old adage, and like it's been used, like, done to death, but that's the easiest way to explain it, right? When you have all this shit happening, and like you say, he's not speaking to him, and didn't help him when he was injured. Like, hasn't spoke to him since that incident happened. Like the whole brawl out thing when he sat next to him, like he didn't handle any of that. Like, he's just an absolute blob of humanity. He's just a fucking mark. It's crazy.
It's like I said, the most overrated wrestlers or wrestling people. Check out our back catalogue at Mark Out of 10. All your favourite podcasting platforms. He's just so desperate to be one of the boys, right? That's what it comes down to. He you know, he's never been involved in the wrestling. This is, again, the difference. Vince McMahon was always wanted to be one of the boys, right? But he was brought up in the wrestling business. He understood it. He understood the history. He understood the traditions of it.
And he had to, because it was his money.
Yeah, exactly. Tony Khan doesn't, right? He hasn't got that same tradition. He's essentially us with a bigger checkbook. You know, that in a nutshell, he's a wrestling fan. That
Speak for yourself, John. Come on, mate. Give me a little bit more credit. I would give you a bit more credit than that as well.
But all
he's one of those guys with a fucking neck beard. You're like, I have you seen that video from All Japan 1991, 70 from May, when this guy, Eugene Lagana, dropped session by the Ashtamania on his head?
Like, that's Tony. He's one of them.
I love ECW. It's the best promotion I've ever seen in my entire life. Sabu setting shit on fire is the best thing ever, man.
Like, that's Tony Khan. It's them. It's those guys. And his dad's a billionaire. Don't fucking. I know Tony didn't come on the show just then. By the way, that wasn't an interview.
Our first guest in Mark Out of 10.
That wasn't an interview, guy. We didn't just play something in from YouTube, okay?
Oh my god!
But no, like, seriously, like that's him. That's him.
Yeah.
Like, we would do a better job, 1,000,000%. I know you would, 1,000,000%. It's just yeah. He is the ultimate mark,
Yeah.
and he's probably the last the last hope, really, or the last hope for a long time.
He's the last obvious hope.
I don't think do you think another TV company or another bunch of wrestlers would give somebody another chance?
I think wrestling
You know what I mean?
is. I think wrestling on network TV is no longer going to be a thing. I think with the deal with Netflix, it's changed. It's changed the industry forever, and I don't think it'll ever go back. The only thing I can see it happening, I think WWE is
camera not focusing. Sorry,
WWE has always been like the upper echelons, right? And there's been obviously WCW. There's been there's TNA competitor, wasn't really close. AEW is probably even further away. When the Netflix deal happens, the only way that wrestling is going to be the way that it was in days gone by is if like sort of territory type stuff happens again. You know, I can see maybe that happening. So WWE is its own
old is
entity.
new again, sort of thing. Yeah.
I can see WWE as its own entity and Netflix. It's like it's its own show. It's its own fucking
Industry.
absolute massive industry, right?
Yeah.
Whereas then I can maybe see the indies go in the sort of territory ways. So we might see like a Florida promotion. We might see that, and we might see the transition of people going between territories, and you know, like what Ric Flair used to do, you know, and all that sort of thing. That could happen.
Yeah.
But honestly, I don't see that happening in the next 15, 20 years. I think it's going to be at the end of our life, beginning of like the next generation of wrestling fans, maybe. So the only way I can see wrestling sort of going that way again.
It's a good take. Very good take. I agree. Yeah, I agree with that. It's, yeah. Cheers, Tony. Cheers for fucking it up for everybody. Fucking sake. Motherfucker. Goddamn shit. Oklahoma. I need a drink.
Cool. While Hoxie goes for a drink, what I'll do is I'll just promote our socials. If you haven't done so already, make sure you go and listen to all the Market of 10 back catalogue on Apple, on Spotify. It's also on our YouTube channel. Speaking of YouTube, make sure you go and subscribe onto that. It's Market of 10. You can also follow us on Twitter.
I just needed to grab a drink because I'm very thirsty.
It's fine. I'm just doing the socials just now. You can always follow us on Twitter as well, Mark_out of 10. We're also on Instagram and TikTok, all at Mark out of 10. Make sure you share the podcast and give us 5 stars because it all helps that famous
algorithm.
There we go. So yeah. Also, you could email us. Make sure you email us your lists if you want to give us your babyface list for next week. Let us know what you think about the CM Punk interview, or obviously your WrestleMania predictions. WrestleMark10@gmail.com. Okay. Where were we, Hoxie?
There we go. That was perfect timing.
Check us out. We're a well-oiled machine.
We were just slagging fucking Tony Khan off again.
Fucking prick. Yeah, so basically, they then spoke about like why he was brought into AEW. Now, he thought he was coming into AEW to help them out, to potentially teach the younger generation how to work on TV, etc. But as time went on, Punk felt he was then brought in for other reasons. Is that him sort of thinking it was just a dig towards WWE? Because he didn't mention it; it's just reading between the lines.
I think I don't think he was brought in for that reason. He was brought in. We said this at the start. He was brought in, and he was sold this is a professional wrestling company. It's going to be different than WWE. It's not going to be this big horrible machine, and you'll be in charge of your own storylines, which to effect he was. The stuff with him and MJF, we've spoke about this before, fucking incredible. Yep. But like he was sold that, but when he came in, he found out quite quickly that they weren't the guys who were really in charge, who are the elite.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's not what they wanted to do. They found somebody with a load of money who's got the same mindset of them, who just cares about cage match ratings and Meltzer stars and reporters wanking themselves silly in a fucking presser after it. You know what I mean? Like that's all.
Oh my god! Like, can you tell me the story between these matches? Because it's the same match as you had in 1998, but it's like a different match in 20.
Fuck off! We don't want that. We don't want that shit. and
Just
neither
don't
did
care.
neither did Punk. He wanted there to he went there to make money, business, the
That's what it
wrestling
is.
business, not the wrestling friendness.
And again, it's like he went on it. Obviously, we're not going to go into each every single sentence
Yep.
that he said, but the interesting one was, if you're some goof saying you had a 5-star match and the building's a quarter full, we're not in the same business.
Yep.
That sort of sums up what you just said there, right?
Yep.
It's, it's a flavour. Everybody's got a favourite flavour of ice cream. Again, I think that was another quote that he used in the interview. And again, we've talked about it for months. It's very apparent, right? If you like that sort of shit, on you go. But you're not going to go... If you hit 1 million views, cool. It must have been a really big show for young Sheldon.
You got lucky.
Yeah. Young Sheldon must have been a banger of an episode, so you got that fucking overrun.
That
right?
Big Bang Theory run-in. Too fucking right. Yeah.
It's like, because again, we'll do that. We'll do it next week with the babyface run. We'll look at the metrics. We've said for the last couple of weeks we're going to do that. We'll just take time.
There's a great bit of information that's just come out, isn't there? We were talking about the other day, so I think that will help.
Yeah, so we'll
streamline
talk about
that a
that
little
next
bit
week
as well. So we'll talk about that. Yeah.
What else? I can't remember what else. What else was there that I've missed out here? I've
Just
got
the brawl out stuff and the NDA. Like I say, he was he got advised that the NDA was in place. It's nothing that he's done. So the NDA has been put in place by the other people, basically, which is absolutely fascinating to me. That was the case. Like, I know, I would have thought. Like I said, I'm not a lawyer. We've said this a few times before on the show. I'm not a lawyer. I don't understand really how that sort of stuff works. But I would have thought everybody would have to be on board for that to sort of kind of be in play. And I know obviously you would have had to agree to it, I would imagine, to a certain degree. But I just think it's fascinating that it's like, no, we want you to not say fuck all, because obviously they've done something bad. So
yeah, it's
interesting.
It's interesting because obviously the NDA was came up and Punk actually said to him, "Just let me go, just release me."
Yeah,
You know,
I've been out anyway. Let me go. Let me fucking just pay me up and let me crack on. He said no.
Because I don't want Vince to have my toy.
But is it that, or is it the fact that because we shit on Tony Khan a lot, he's not a stupid man, right? He's not. He knows the draw that Punk is, or was at that time, right? That's why he wanted to keep him. He's just, it's like you say, the inmates are running the asylum, right? It's like they're, and Punk said it best, he's a nice guy, not a boss. He should be the one saying, do I know something? Fuck you, young bucks, right? You couldn't draw a fucking picture, right? This guy here is a legitimate superstar. You know, that he could take MJF, and he did take MJF to the next level in terms of the promo and the segments that they did together, right?
Yep.
They could take a Wardlow, right? Because Wardlow was heavily invested in that thing with CM Punk and MJF, right? It's like he could have taken him to that next level, but they shat the bed with Wardlow, right? There's so many people that they could have elevated. You know, he took on fucking, what's his face? He took on Darby Allin, you know? Elevated Darby Allin again. Then our Darby went under Sting's tutelage.
Send Hook. It's the famous line, isn't it? Yeah.
It's just he just needs a bit of a backbone, and then it would have been fine. But you know,
I think I'm going to sort of. I'm not going to disagree with what you said there. Like, I'm going to disagree with a little bit of it. Tony is a smart guy.
Mm-hmm.
He's within his own right. He's sort of involved in stuff with the Jaguars and with Fulham and this whole statistics thing and all that sort of stuff. Like, that's what autism and cocaine does. It helps you with shit like that. Okay,
clap it.
But hi TikTok. I think that sort of thing he's good at, but he's not a wrestling business owner.
No.
Like, the same way, like, I'm very, very, very good at what I do for my job, but I wouldn't go and be a plumber because I wouldn't know what to do, or an electrician, or I wouldn't go and try and, I don't know, make some furniture and stuff, because it wouldn't be straight. It would all just be wonky and everything. Like, the same way as I would leave that to those people that know how to do that. Like Ted Turner had lots and lots of money, and he bought himself a wrestling company. But Ted didn't run it. He gave it to people who knew what they were doing, right? Tony could still have all of his little toys and do all of his own shit, but he could give that to somebody or work with a group of people who would do a much better job than what he's doing by himself, because they would know better. And that's one of the reasons why, when we use this as an example, because it's a really prime example to use. It's like a popular, it's understanding for people. Jim Cornette was approached to go and work there, and he said, "Not a fucking chance, because I know exactly what you are, and I know exactly what you'll be doing and how it'll work out." And it's telling. If he was very, very good, he wouldn't be in this mess that he's in now. But like I say, he has got the wrong people in his ear, but he's still making the decisions and still doing stuff. He's good at some stuff, but not at everything.
The thing is, with Tony, the matches that he puts on, right? Because we've said it before, he's a matchmaker, not a booker, right? The matches themselves are great matches, right? It's matches that you would love to be invested in. You know, like I would love to be invested in the Daniel Bryan or Bryan Danielson versus Will Ospreay. I would love to be invested in that with a proper storyline, something that's not just we're going to see who the best wrestler.
Who's the best wrestler in the world, which they've done 20 times. Yeah,
and you know, I was listening to Jim Cornette's podcast, and he goes, "Well, they're not the best wrestler in the world because they're not the champion." You know what I mean? It's like there's just a disconnect there. It's like. We know that
because you can do all the moves, it doesn't make you the best wrestler. What makes you the best at something is by being the best and you have a title, right? In sports, you're the champion. Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong. Bryan Danielson versus Will Ospreay would have been easily match of the year contender 5 years ago. Bryan Danielson is not the same wrestler he was 5, 6 years, 7 years ago.
No.
You know, prior to his concussion, the time out of being his concussion. Am I going to watch the match? Of course I'm going to watch the match, right? It is a big match, but it doesn't fill me with joy because I'm just not invested in it, right? Tony Khan could easily be in a booking committee, right? He could be there saying, right, I want to have this match. If this is my WrestleMania, if this is an AEW WrestleMania, this is the card I want, right? Book it for the 6 months before, you know, something like that, and then bring a cornet.
Make this make sense.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, and
sell me tickets.
Yeah.
Make me money. Sell pay-per-views. Draw this house with this match. These guys are willing to work with each other and do business. Make the best chicken salad out of that chicken shit you possibly can. And there's lots of people out there who would be able to do it, right? There's lots of people out there who be able to do it. I've said this before. They're playing the right notes, just not in the right order.
I mean, they've got Jeff Jarrett behind the scenes. They've got fucking Jerry Lynn. Not Jerry Lynn. There's Jerry Lynn. Jerry Lynn is there. Yeah. You know,
they have fucking Arn Anderson. They've got Tony Schiavone there.
You know, they've got Ric Flair there. You know, it's like, but you know what I mean. It's like obviously Ric Flair's got his flaws, but wrestling mind. You know, it's like we're talking about the guy, like ever, not just in a generation, just
Jim Ross
ever. Jim Ross is there.
Taz.
Tony Schiavone, Taz. Fucking, it's just insane, man. Now they've got Edge, they've got Christian, they've got, you know, and if they want to appeal to the fucking Japanese contingent, they've got a Bryan Danielson. They've got, you know, they've got all that sort of.
That's your Collision show, isn't it? Your Dynamite is your main, is your main show, is your main stories. It's your world title stuff. It's your big main. It's your Raw, isn't it? You know what I mean? As an example, your Collision is it can be catered to that. Like you've got that different level. You've got your different. You can have your Shibata versus Eddie Kingston on a Saturday night. You know what I mean? Your Rampage is your magazine show and the women's show, in my opinion. Put the women on Rampage. And that's it. You've got you catered for your three different things. You might have your main women's title on your Wednesday night, for example, but you have all the other stuff on a Friday. I don't
It
know.
would take
Just
it would take the pressure off the women as well being on the Rampage, because some of them are just so green. Like some of them just they're so weak in terms of a division, which is crazy to say considering the names they've got in there.
but it is poor. Yeah, I agree.
It's very poor, you know.
Yeah,
It's like it would take the pressure off because they don't have the viewership on it like a Rampage, right? They just don't. But it gives them still the exposure to like, right, where's the camera positions, where's this, where's that. You know, it gets them used to it. But
reps. They're getting their reps in.
exactly, yeah,
And that's one of the reasons why they're struggling, because some of the guys still do indie shows, but you said earlier on, some guys, they want to work once a week and film vignettes and have 3 weeks off. Like, you're not getting your reps in. As a young talent who hasn't been in a main promotion and has learnt lots and lots of bad habits, you need to get your reps in. You need to go and learn and learn by doing mistakes and stuff. And you can't do that on a national television show once a week, once a month. It doesn't work that way.
It's like, holy fuckballs, I can't believe people that, you know, like you say, that are in the indies just now that aren't going in every single week and spending an hour with an Arn Anderson. You know, just soaking
I'd never
up
leave
knowledge.
his side. I wouldn't leave his side until he told me to fuck off, and then I would go and sit next to somebody else.
Sit next to a Jerry Lynn for an hour.
Yeah,
you know, it's like
I'd be following Christian and Edge around, and like they'd be like, "What are you? Nothing. Just stand here. Just nothing. Just see what's going on.
Can I smell your hair, please?
Just yeah, sure, nothing. What are you
But you
what
know,
are you
it's
doing?
like,
no, nothing.
It's
I'm
like,
not here.
it's like
Like
obviously,
Dax, just like
it's like I've never taken a bump in my life, but you know, now I used to do like competitive sport like when I was younger, but I can't imagine they're just wasting the opportunity to learn from some of the best that have ever done it in their sport.
Hangman Adam Page has come out and said, "Oh, we don't need to do that because we were already nailing it. We're doing all right by ourselves. Why do we need to learn from people like that when we're doing what we're doing right now?" He said that. That's
Yeah,
what
he
he's
did,
come
yeah.
out and said.
He's a
And that's
fuck knuckle.
and that's the attitude. That's the issue, dude. It's a different level. I like I said, a lot of the guys I have wrestled people who've been on national television on huge shows. Even Juventud Guerrera, for example, Ring of Honor guys like Brewer, like whatever. The guys who are experienced people in the UK indies or on like the independent scene who've done international shows like Johnny Storm, that sort of stuff, like whenever they were on a show, even if I wasn't wrestling, I would always try and find where their bag was and put my bag next to their bag. So I would be getting changed next to them and listening to how they talk, listening to how they interact with people, just listening to how they are in like the locker room, just how they carry themselves, what they do to prepare, like what their mindset is. You can learn just being a human being, being a businessman. Like these guys have been in the industry for 15, 20 years. What does it take to stay in the industry for that long and be successful in the industry for that long? Like just be around these people.
Yeah.
I was very, very lucky when I was trained. My trainer, Tomcat Kevin O'Neill, big shout out to Tomcat Kevin O'Neill. Like he saw that I wanted to learn and saw that I was like thinking about this stuff this way. And it's like, okay, I'm going to put you with him. I'm going to put you with Brandon Thomas, the Messiah. And I had my first ever singles match I had in my entire career was 45 minutes long. And the lad, Brandon, he didn't know that I was that green. Like I'd literally had like a tag match beforehand and like a little bit of a tag match after that as well. My first proper full on singles match was 45 minutes long. And it was like, I learned from that. But like, if I went in there with like, fuck it, yeah, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do this, that, and the other, I wouldn't have got the opportunity to learn from those guys. Like my journey at the start of wrestling would not have been that. He would have put me with all the dickheads because I was a dickhead. Like you want to learn. That's what we're there for. Like we're new at everything. Like if I go into a job in real life, like put me with the best guy, put me with the people who know what they're doing, the most experienced people. You learn from experience.
Yep.
I don't get it. Sorry about going off on a tangent talking about me, but like that's the only comparison that I've got, if you know what I mean. And it's the same thing. It's just a different scale. It's just a larger scale. You learn from that. You learn from the people who've, and this gets used so much and it sounds really cheesy, but these people have walked that walk. Like the path that you're walking on was started by them. like it's now a fucking motorway because it started off as a dirt track when those guys were fucking doing it. Like, you learn from those people. You wouldn't be here if it wasn't for them. So fucking A, respect them, and B, learn from it. You can change it. You can put your own twist on it. There's nothing wrong with that. That's how change happens. People say, oh, back in the fucking 70s, all the matches were fucking 45-minute wrist locks and all that. Like, that's bullshit for a start, but it kind of is true. Like, at one point, a dropkick was a finish. You know what I mean? And stuff changes, but the core values are still there. It's the traditions and the respect and what wrestling is based on is still there. Use it. Use it. Because it won't be here for you much longer if you don't. And that's the issue we've got. Sorry, I'm getting hot.
No.
I'm getting hot.
I'm getting hot.
Yeah.
You mentioned one man there, Hangman Adam Page, and there was a big part of the interview that he was mentioned as well. The famous sort of when he went into business for himself.
Fuck that guy.
Yeah. So basically, CM Punk spent some time with Page talking about what they were going to talk about. Obviously, sort of rehearsing in terms of what they were going to say, so they could actually bounce off each other.
He said something very poignant as well. He said, I gave him that courtesy, which says that Punk doesn't do that beforehand and doesn't do it for people usually. So that would have been Paige coming to him saying like, "Come and do this, please, because I'm scared," or some bullshit. And Punk's like, "Okay, like, let me fucking help you out." So we done that just out of common courtesy to help this guy out.
Yep.
Sorry, go on, carry on.
No, and then obviously Hangman went off script, right? He didn't mention any of the things that was discussed backstage, and obviously because of how loud the audience were, Punk couldn't really hear him, so he couldn't really base what he had rehearsed, if we call it that, with him beforehand, because it just might not fit into what was being said, and he just felt that Hangman wasted a whole lot of TV time and obviously money.
Disrespectful to the business.
And absolute disrespect to the business.
And the boys and the people, the production guys, the lighting guys, the fucking ring crew, the network, the fans, people watching at home, everybody. You're not just being a cool kid. You're literally, and that this is where the term comes from, you're going into business for yourself. Like, nobody cares about what's going on right now apart from you. No one's going to buy anything. Like, oh, you said something really, oh, fucking hell, he's talking about Colt Cabana. Oh, like, there's fucking 50 people who probably realize what you were talking about straight away. No one gives a shit. No one gives a shit. It's bullshit. Fuck you.
Yeah, and then obviously that led on to the famous, like, the media scrum where,
Brawl out.
The brawl out. And
the Mindy's
the
bakery muffins.
I think the overwhelming, and I think that's really everything we've covered from there. There's other bits and pieces, but I don't think they were as poignant. But I think the general thing that was put across by Punk, again, we're talking about Tony Khan here, was Tony was responsible for a lot of it by not putting a stop to a lot of the shit. You know?
Would never, ever, ever gone anywhere near as far if Vince McMahon was in charge.
No, not at all.
If Eric Bischoff was in charge, if Jeff Jarrett was in charge, if fucking Jerry Jarrett was in charge, if Paul Heyman was in charge, name any boss ever. Bill Watts. Bill Watts would have fucking beat the fuck out of Adam Page if he went on national television and done that. He wouldn't have made it back home to the hotel. He would have got swept up off the floor, mopped up off the floor if Bill Watts was in charge of AW. But it's just, it goes to show. Like 40 odd minutes ago, I've got like the news thing. So Tony Khan has been asked about the CM Punk interview.
Mm-hmm.
This is on 411mania.com. So it's the Supercard of Honor pay-per-view presser thing. So Fightful have reported that he got asked about CM Punk's recent comments. And this is quote,
I prefer not to talk about that. I'd really rather focus on the card at Supercard of Honor. But thanks for asking. I do appreciate you asking. And there's plenty of interesting things we can talk about here.
Fucking.
That was it. End of quote. It's just like...
You say it best when you say nothing at all.
You've got CM Punk, who spoke eloquently and grounded and absolutely beautifully and phenomenally about every single question that he got asked for an hour and 50 minutes. And then that's the response that you get from Tithead. Crazy.
Oh,
Crazy.
dear.
Sums it up, right?
Yep. Oh, wait, there's something interesting just now.
Wait, there's more.
No, it's about, obviously recently as well, AEW have released some ROH talents. There's a whole host of them that's been released, including Stu Grayson, Dasher Fuentes, Anthony Henry, Gravity, Jose the Assistant, Slim J, Parker Boudreaux, Jora Joel, and The Boys have been released. And asked specifically about The Boys being cut, given they're in a key Ring of Honor storyline with Dalton Castle, Khan said the cuts are all different situations. He said both Brandon and Brent Tate didn't show to work on multiple occasions and he had to make the tough call. And then The Boys, Brandon, has said, "Oh, it's like that. Stand by." Oh, shit. Interesting. So that's in their Twitter.
Join in next week for more shitting on Tony Khan. Good shit. We need to call it the good shit segment so we can just get...
That's a great segment. Let's clap it. Clap it. The good shit segment. Hey Siri, remember good shit head. Sorry, that was a digression there, but again, it leads itself quite nicely. It's a case of it just shows the complete disconnect that Tony's got. Right? It's like he doesn't know what's going on in his own house.
Yeah. I mean, That's, you took me off. I thought you were going to carry on a little bit there. You took me off guard. Sorry. It's the right hand. Or the left hand doesn't know what the right hand's doing, or whatever. You mean that's you can use all the adages you want, all the bullshit you want. It's a shit show. It's an absolute shit show over there. It's fucking depressing. I think we move on from AW now, mate. We've spoken about this CM Punk interview for nearly the same amount of time that the CM Punk interview went on for.
Absolutely.
And I'm here for it. I don't give a fuck.
Look,
I'm here for it.
We're here trying to do new things in Market of 10. We love doing the list. The list is going to be a major proponent of the podcast forever. But there may be, there may be episodes where we do something like this. We just talk about wrestling, right? It doesn't need to be list related. It could be anything. So let us know if you enjoy these sort of podcasts. If you do, let us know at wrestlemark10@gmail.com. All the socials that we said earlier. Mark_out of 10. Market of 10 on YouTube. Also on TikTok and our Instagram. We want to hear your opinions on wrestling as well. It'd be greatly appreciated. But as Hoxie says, that's enough of AEW. I think CM Punk is a legend, right? We fucking love a bit of CM Punk here. Fuck AEW. Fuck Tony Khan. Fuck the Young Bucks. But what we're going to do is we're going to talk about some real wrestling shows now. And we're talking about the upcoming WrestleMania. So this podcast is going to be released Friday, the 5th of April. I probably won't get it released for midnight. It'll probably be about midday tomorrow that we'll get that up there, because we wanted to release it prior to WrestleMania. Because what we're going to do now is going to talk through the card for Saturday and Sunday, give our predictions, give our talk about it, each of these matches and how we think it's going to go. It's going to be really interesting. You all set, Hoxie boy?
I'm fucking GTG, mate. Can't wait.
It's going to be a good one. Like I said, this is, just before we begin going through each of these matches, this is the most excited for a WrestleMania I've been in a long time. Now, I don't know if it's just down to doing the podcast, like Market of 10, but it's sort of reinvigorating my wrestling love a little bit. But
I think there's a bit of that. There's a little bit of that for me. Yeah.
But I think when you look at the card, both night 1 and night 2, they're really strong cards. Really strong cards. Yeah?
I can't imagine how they'd be able to... We're lucky that it's 2 nights now.
Yeah.
Imagine with all... I don't think half of this stuff would be going on if it wasn't 2 nights. Like, we would be starved of all the good shit what's going on. It'd be... Yeah.
So this was the card... This was the night 1 and night 2 as of, like, 1 p.m. Today. So it's subject to change. The matches could be on different nights, etc. But as of now, or as of 1 p.m., this is what the card was. So night 1, Saturday, of WrestleMania 40, WrestleMania XL, the largest WrestleMania of all time. First match that we've got here is Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee versus Santos Escobar and Dominic Mysterio. Now, I don't know if this is going to be a dark match. It sounds very dark match-ish, if that makes sense. Thoughts, Hoxie boy?
It'll be a good match. It will have some heat. It will have some reaction. I will imagine it will have nice ending, happy-ish kind of ending, sort of gimmick going on.
See, I don't think so.
I think the entrances will be really good and really fun. We could see a Dragon Lee turn potentially or something along those lines, but I think it'll be a really good American style lucha match, which like for that kind of audience will sort of like that. And dude, it's got fucking Rey Mysterio in it, right? It's gonna be good. But Dragon Lee is slept on. He's absolutely incredible. And Santos Escobar and Dominic are just heat magnets. Really, Santos is the worker in there. Dominic is Dominic. He's Dom. Yeah, he's Dom baby.
Dom.
So it's Dirty Dom. It's just one of them. It's gonna be. It's not going to be like a game changer match. You know what I mean? I don't think it's going to be like, holy fucking shit, that was the match of the night. Like, it'll be a good match, but it's probably just on there. Like you say, it might be on like a pre-showy kind of match kind of thing, kickoff show, whatever it is. But it'll be good nonetheless.
See,
I agree.
I don't think it's going to be a good finish. I think the heels are going to go over because I think Carlito is going to turn heel and he's going to betray Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee. It's been touted a bit on Twitter, etc. And if you look at some of like the SmackDowns and the Raws, etc., where this storyline has been done, I think this could be like the sort of implosion of LWO, and that will be a continuation of the story. Now, I don't particularly like that at WrestleMania. I always think WrestleMania should be the sort of stopping point,
The end.
But this could potentially give a bit more legs to the LWO storyline, and so I'm there for it. I do think Santos Escobar and Dominic will go over.
It'll be. I would like to see Carlito spit an apple in someone's face, regardless. So yeah, I'm ready for that.
Do you want to see him spit in the face of those that
Want to be cool?
be cool? Yeah.
Exactly. Yes, I do.
Okay.
So I'm going to tune into WrestleMania 40 on Saturday.
Just for that match alone.
Just for that match alone.
So what are you're going for Dragon Lee and Rey Mysterio win?
I think if it's on the kickoff show, probably yes. If it's going to be in the mix, probably no. But if I'm just going to go on the idea that it's on the kickoff, and I think they'll send the fans like in happy with a Mysterio and Dragon Lee win.
Right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put like our initials beside who we think we're going to win as well, and then we can review next week.
We can review. Yeah.
Okay, so you think Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee, and I'll think Santos and Dominic. Okay, next up is, again, subject to change, Bianca Belair, Naomi, and Jade Cargill making her long-awaited debut on the big stage versus Damage Control, which is Dakota Kai, Asuka, and Kairi Sane.
There's going to be some phenomenal big girl spots in that match that I'm going to be there for so much. You have no idea. Jade Cargill's going to get the win over whoever, basically.
As long as she does the pin.
What are you on about, John? I don't know what
If you
you're on
haven't
about.
seen the pin, then
God, please do the pin. Please do the pin,
please, dear God, do the pin.
Please do the pin.
Dear God, do
And
the
I would
pin.
like the pin to be done on Dakota Kai if there's a preference, but I'm easy. What?
There'll definitely be a spot where Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill gorilla press.
Gorilla press
the
one of them.
girls.
Yeah, 1,000,000%. Yeah,
that's gonna happen.
1,000,000%.
Do I know the one?
Oh, and Naomi's going to be sat on Asuka's face. With a split
Naomi's
leg.
just going to be doing the splits somewhere in the middle. It's
Yeah.
like,
And Jade and Bianca's going to be holding Sane and fucking Dakota Kai above their heads for like 10 minutes.
the only issue I've got is Naomi being in the match. I've really not been impressed with her since she's came back.
She's got big go away heat with me, mate. Big go away
it's
heat.
not
Her entrance will be decent with all the lights and all that sort of stuff. But it's all about Bianca and Jade, isn't it? Really.
Yeah.
There'll be some fun. Like Kai Asuka and Kairi Sane, they're all really good workers. Like they're really good workers, and they are sort of bumping heels, if you know what I mean. So like you can see why these guys have been put in there with them. just for like to sort of like from a booking perspective, like you want them to accentuate those positives, right? Hide those negatives. But Jade's going to win and probably and pin one of the Jade's going to get the pin, I would imagine, or she turns heel, motherfucker. She's a heel. That's my plan B. Jade does a turn.
Do you think? Right, what I think about, I think Bianca, Naomi, and Jade will go over. They'll get the win, right? I reckon Bianca will get the pinfall, and then Jade will boot fuck out about Bianca.
Bianca afterwards to set up. So that my idea for like Jade doing the turn is to set up a Bianca Jade
feud
thing. Yeah. Similar idea, similar outcomes, just a different way of getting there. Yeah.
I reckon that's how the finish will go. Like Bianca will steal the pin from Jade, taking her moment, and then Jade will just fucking boot the living shit out of her. And Naomi will try involved and she'll boot the living shit out of her. And then it would be really cool if they did an injury spot where they remove Bianca from it. Like
Naomi gets injured and she never comes back to wrestling in the WWE.
Well, I was thinking what they could do is for long-term storyline, Jade could get rid of Bianca for a while, then wrestles Naomi, and then Bianca does a run-in at some point.
Bianca does the run-in with a shoulder and a strap or something like
that. But I think it's a fairly safe bet. I like that Jade's going to go over in her first big event, right?
It has.
Do the pin. Do the fucking pin.
Do the pin. Sweet lordy.
Sorry, I'm just looking at the pin just now.
Share it. Send the pin. Get it in.
Dear. Okay. So the next match is. Let's digress. The 6-pack ladder match for the undisputed WWE title tag team championships. Judgment Day, Damian Priest and Finn Balor, the champions, versus Awesome Truth, The Miz and R-Truth, versus DIY, Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa, versus New Day, Kofi and Xavier Woods, versus New Cats Republic, Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate, versus A-Town Down Under, Austin Theory and Grayson Waller.
The worst tag team name in history.
Now,
sorry, go on.
yeah, I agree with you. It's just horrific. Now, there is rumours going about that there's discussions within WWE that A-Town Down Under, Austin Theory and Grayson Waller, they have qualified for the match, but there's still discussions whether they're going to take part in it. Now, could this be Matt and Jeff coming back?
No way.
Matt's out of contract.
Is Jeff?
Jeff's unknown at this time.
Name's Jeff.
And we've talked about, I think Jeff might be, but what we've then got is, we talked about it earlier. Are there non-compete clauses anymore in AEW?
Would they have them back? Because they're fucked.
Yeah, they're gone, but...
Can you have another Matt and Jeff Hardy return at WrestleMania? Who? Can you have that? Or will that, because it's...
Would you be there for it?
Probably. Probably, like...
Yeah.
You know I love a good fucking pop, John. We've had this conversation before. And it would get one. I mean, is there anybody... If that doesn't happen, is there anybody who they could bring up? Or anybody else who they could get? Or anybody else who could be on the horizon?
Could they do Braun Breaker and Baron Corbin?
I think if they're going to bring Braun up... Yeah, I think if they're going to bring him up, though, he's going to be by himself. I think
But Braun's not on the card, and Braun's signed for SmackDown. It doesn't mean he's going to win it.
Interesting. I think if they debut, or if they do a big surprise, I think something big has to happen for them not to win it, or they have to win it, right? Surely.
Yeah.
I think Demolition are going to come back in full fucking leather spikes and face paint and everything. They're going to come back.
Could you imagine?
Axe and smash.
The Dudleys? So many cool things. I would say Edge and Christian, but, fuck you, Tony Khan.
No, that would be fucking insane.
It would be so good. I think Judgment Day are going to lose. I think Damian Priest is getting ready to cash in. He might not cash in at WrestleMania, but I think it's sort of setting it up where they need to lose the title, Priest and Finn Balor. My gut feeling is it's going to be Awesome Truth that's going to win it.
Yeah.
But I said it before. There's something about Newcastle Republic.
Pete and Tyler, yeah, you did call it. If they did, I will cry my fucking eyes out for how amazing it would be for two of my boys to fucking win their first titles
At Mania.
At WrestleMania. I would with a tear in my eye. I'd be fucking it'd be amazing. I can't see it happening. I can see it happening. I don't necessarily see it happening, but my money's on Awesome Truth just because of all the mad shit that fucking R-Truth's been doing.
I love R-Truth, man.
Like every single circus needs a clown, and he's been amazing. Like the stuff in the Rumble, the stuff with all them lot, like he's got himself the Rumble.
It's like,
you telling me they're all women? Like that
Elimination Chamber. Elimination Chamber, he goes to Austria. It's like, what the fuck? You're telling me these are all women?
Fucking hell. I think it's silly, but there's a level of comedy in wrestling which you can get away with, and that I like, and that's that level. You know what I mean? When it doesn't take itself. I mean, comedy doesn't necessarily take itself too seriously, but it doesn't take itself too seriously. It's not trying hard. It's just like natural. Like he was fucking NWA World Champion, mate.
He was
NWA World Champion, and then he's doing all this. It's just fucking so good. I love it. That's probably my shout.
Awesome Truth. I think it makes more sense storyline wise. I think Judgment Day are going to drop it. There's a few good teams in there, right? I think New Day are like they do their thing, right? They're solid tag team.
Yeah.
DIY. Not a huge Johnny Gargano fan, but I do like Ciampa.
Ciampa's amazing. Gargano can get in the seat.
Austin Theory and Grayson Waller, if they do compete, they're the heat magnets, right? I mean, that's the way it's going to be.
Do they get it? If they actually get there, do they get it?
Nah, they can't
for the heat.
That.
As a thank you to Grayson Waller for sticking up for the business in Australia.
Maybe.
Stranger things have happened.
Stranger things have happened, indeed. Okay, then we go on to brother versus brother, Jay versus Jimmy.
Brother versus brother. Which one's which?
Jimmy is with the Bloodline. Jay is main event Jey Uso from Raw.
Is he the Yeet one?
He's the Yeet, yeah.
So
he's the Cody Rhodes guy.
There'll be shenanigans. I think if there's too many shenanigans, it's going to be Jimmy. But if there's just the right amount of shenanigans, it's going to be the Yeet one. It's going to be Jay. And I'll be honest with you, I couldn't care less.
I'm glad it's happening now, right? Because they've spoke about they want to face each other at Mania, right? And I'm glad it's just going to get done, right? I'm glad it's going to be over after this, right?
Fucking way.
Now, to be honest, it's a coin flip because I genuinely don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
I reckon it could be a really good match though, because they're solid in the ring. They'll do their thing. They'll have the yeet no yeet. I reckon
they'll million super kicks.
Oh yeah, I reckon they'll have a Hogan Rock moment where they stand in the middle of the ring for fucking ages and look at the crowd every so often.
The best thing, they should just come out in matching like full bodysuits and stand there and look at each other for like 5 minutes and then both go under the ring and then come back out and then we don't know who's who.
Like the Spider-Man meme.
Yeah. Shit. We don't know what the hell.
Yeah, I reckon Jay is probably going to go over. To the point where... So the way I think it's going to be booked, and it leads into the sort of main event of night one, Jay is going to beat Jimmy so much that Jimmy can't interfere in the final match of the Rock Roman versus Cody Seth match. I reckon it's that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I reckon that Jay is probably going to go over there. Is that what you're saying as well, yeah?
Potentially. Yeah,
I'm talking about just the winner. You're saying main event Jay.
Yeah, the Yeet one.
The Yeet one.
Yeah.
Okay, like I say, I don't give a fuck. Anuso's going to win, so it's fine.
Mhm.
Okay, so next up would be the Intercontinental Championship. Gunther, the Ring General, versus Sami Zayn.
So, Sami Zayn is former IC champion, former
Yes.
US champion. He's also
Yep.
he's one of the big ones, has he?
No.
He's been a big main event player though for a long
Yeah.
time.
Yep.
He is the only real proper threat really that I can see taking the belt off Gunther. If there is going to be one, if you know what I mean, in terms of who is available to be in the mix with him. I hope he doesn't. I want Gunther to win. I want him to keep hold of the belt. What I want to happen is for him to keep hold of the IC title, work his way to beat whoever has got the WWF World Heavyweight Championship made up title, and then he has to give up the IC belt. He
So like the
hands it.
story from days gone by. Who was that did that?
Ultimate Warrior.
Warrior, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I want to happen. So I want Gunther to win this. I can quite easily see him not, but I want him to, because that's how I would book it and what I want to do. What I want to happen. I think it's going to be a good match. I find this is going to sound really bad, and I'm not saying it because I'm not saying it to sound bad. I find it hard to look at Sami Zayn at the minute because I just think he needs a good fucking wash. He needs a good wash. I find it. He's like he gives me the ick.
He's dirty.
Sami
He's
Zayn
dirty.
gives
Disgusting.
Hoxie the ick.
Clip it.
Tweet that out. Hashtag Sami Zayn ick. Like I find it really difficult. I find it really difficult to look at him, and yeah, it's a weird one, but it'll be a decent match. They can both go. Gunther's
really
going to
good
chop fuck out of him because it's WrestleMania, and it's going to be a good match. And I like Gunther. He's one of my favorite things in wrestling right now, so
Yeah.
I want Gunther to win.
I think Gunther is going to go over. It is not the match that I wanted. I didn't want Gunther versus Sami. I think it should have been Chad Gable.
Gable.
Because those series of matches that those guys had were fucking incredible. If you haven't watched them,
I've seen clips. I need to watch them all. I've seen clips. I haven't watched them, so I need to watch them. The one where he was like saying, "I'm going to do it for my family," and his family were in the crowd and all that sort of stuff. Like, I need to watch that one. I have to go and watch that one because
it's incredible.
Everyone's
man,
told me it's insane.
So good.
Will you like message me and remind me so I can try and find it and watch it?
Of course I will, my friend.
Yeah, cool.
I'm like his fucking PA. Honestly, it's ridiculous. So, yeah, I mean, I think Gunther's going to go. I reckon Sammy's going to get squashed. I think
it's going to be a 2-minute.
I think he's going to get absolutely done in because it lends itself to the storyline. Because Chad Gable,
it could quite easily be do. Yeah, okay.
Because the way the storyline's going is that Sami Zayn is sort of underestimating like how much it takes to beat Gunther, and Chad Gable has always been going on about you need to really do this. I've had these opportunities, blah
training
blah blah.
Them up and all
it's
that,
training them up, and this squash, it could be very much like I'm thinking like Rocky 3, where like he gets an absolute pasting from Mr. T
from the bottom, yeah,
you know, and then he gets Chad Gable to sort of train him up, and or something along those lines, or Chad Gable comes in, beats Gunther eventually, which I think is the storyline. It's the way it should be written. I think Chad Gable should be the guy to dethrone Gunther, so Gunther can go up to the next level. Because Chad Gable is fucking phenomenal. He's the Kurt Angle of this generation.
Yes.
I reckon. I agree Gunther's going over, but I reckon Sami Zayn's getting squashed, man. I don't think it's going to go longer than 2-3 minutes.
I'm here for that. See? You saying you fucking with Tony Khan with money, or without money. You're way better than that. There we go.
Fucking booking genius. There we go. Sign me up. Okay, next up. I reckon this is probably going to be the way it goes. Women's World Championship, Rhea Ripley versus Becky Lynch. Are you? And because it's just Rhea Ripley?
Lots of reasons. Something else is having a reaction because of Rhea Ripley, not my voice.
Rhea Ripley and Becky Lynch.
So, I can see Becky winning because she's big time Bex and she's main event guy, girl, guy, the guy,
Yeah.
the man, whatever. I don't want it to happen. Rhea Ripley's the best thing that's been in WWE for a long time. She's probably the best women's wrestler since Becky's last big run, like the man run when she was that one. And probably them pair have probably run away with it for the last few years. Maybe, you know what I mean, in terms of what we've been doing.
There's no one touching these two. They're fucking phenomenal. Charlotte's where she comes back, maybe, but
yeah. She's in that sort of mix. But this will be one of the matches of the night.
Yep, 100%. I reckon it will be the match of the night.
Probably, yeah, potentially, yeah, to be the match of the night. Whether they think about that too much, because what usually happens is they try too hard to do that, and it doesn't end up that way. Like if it happens naturally, like the Flair and Ripley one match, like they probably went out and said, "Yeah, we'll go for the match of the night," but I don't think anyone thought it was going to be the match of the night, and it just ended up being fucking incredible. One of the best women's matches, probably the best women's match in the history of women's wrestling. I just hope they don't get in their own way with it. If that does that make sense? What I'm saying?
I get what you're saying. Yeah, I don't think it'll happen because of what the main event of night one is supposedly what it is going to be. I reckon that no one is expecting this match to be the best on the card, but for me, it is definitely. Are you putting Becky Lynch over? Like, yeah,
I could. It's another one of those things where I could quite easily see it happening, and I do not want it to happen at all. I want Rhea Ripley to win this match. So it's maybe not a caveat or a whatever, like a preface or whatever, but I want Rhea Ripley to win. I'm going to put down on a piece of paper, like if we're doing predictions, it's going to be Rhea Ripley win.
Right,
but it would not surprise me in the slightest if Becky Lynch walks out of this with the title around her waist.
See, that's really surprising because I don't think Becky Lynch has got a chance of going over.
It's Becky Lynch.
Yeah, that doesn't matter. Becky's one of those that doesn't need the title anymore.
She doesn't need it
without it.
She doesn't need it, but it's WWE.
WWE under Triple H though. And I reckon Rhea is Rhea is
the future and the now.
But yeah, exactly. But if Rhea is going to drop the title, it's going to be to Charlotte Flair when she comes back. Rhea Ripley is keeping that title until such time as Charlotte comes back and wants the title.
They do Mania next year, and she drops it next year. That's the... Because it was last year?
Yeah. 39.
So they'll have the missed out. It's going to be like Rock and Stone Cold, isn't it? Like the 15, 17, 19. It's going to be because 39, 41, isn't it?
Because let's be honest, right? And I know this it's not going to happen. Becky hasn't signed a contract yet. You know, and they're not going to put. My opinion, I don't think they'll put a title on her until she signs the contract.
No.
I reckon she will. She will sign the contract. She's already said that she's going to finish there, right? But I just don't see.
She's leveraging more money, mate. That's all.
Yeah, exactly. I don't see
Sasha's
any.
Getting $10 million a year, whatever the fuck that is.
There's a memo went out in WWE. No fucking chances of this happening here. But
like I said, I want Rhea to win.
Yeah.
She's going to win. Universe, Zeitgeist. She's going to win. It's going to happen. But I wouldn't be like, oh my god, I can't fucking believe they just put Becky Lynch over. It'd be like, fuck me, of course. Yeah. You know, it'd be one of them moments to be like, yeah, obviously. You know what I mean? Like, but I don't want it to happen. But so the presentation of this, the WrestleMania presentation of this, with how much of a big star Rhea is now as well. Like she went into last year as a star. They put the title on her, but like she is one of the stars in the whole of the company, and Becky's not far behind her.
Yeah.
The presentation of this match is going to be off the fucking chain. I can't wait for Rhea's entrance. And what she's going to look like. She always has like a amazing look, doesn't she? She always looks sick. So
so does Becky though. Becky's fucking years always amazing. It's like
we're in the Lady Gaga years now, aren't we, as well? Where she just looks fucking mad.
I genuinely think this match could steal the show, man. It's going to be incredible. But yeah, so before we go into the last one, so there's 3 potential title matches on. we're putting one title change. That's the tag team title changes. Other two are staying on their respective champions. Interesting. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Again, we haven't had a WrestleMania like this where we don't really know. You know, it's like there's, you know, but with the big title matches, like even with Flair and Rhea Ripley, you sort of knew Rhea was going to go over, right? It's like there was always in the back of your head, as the booker, you always say, right, it makes sense for Rhea to go over. With these matches, you just don't know, which is really, really cool. Really loving it. But the final match, Hoxie, of night one, The Rock and Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins. With the stipulation, if Rock and Roman Reigns win, it is a Bloodline Rules match.
Yeah.
If Cody Rhodes and Seth wins, it's just one-on-one, Cody versus Roman Reigns. Who goes over?
It's going to be The Rock and Roman Reigns, isn't it? Code. You don't think it's going to? Come on, you go. Go on. Tell me why. No, you go on. Give me your. Because you were very, very quick to say no. Then, very.
Cody Rhodes is going to get the pin on Roman Reigns after The Rock fucks over Roman Reigns, so it's one-on-one in night 2, and Roman Reigns goes over Cody Rhodes one-on-one night 2. Cody Rhodes doesn't finish the story, but Cody Rhodes still gets a win at WrestleMania. Telling you. Look at there's a bit in his eyes. There's a bit. Fuck, Shields has actually got a point there.
No.
I saw it.
No. It was how do I verbally eviscerate this guy without falling out with him with the next couple of minutes? No. So it's Cody is going to win the title. Cody's going to win. Cody's going to win the title. You put that down on your piece of paper, on your spreadsheet or whatever. You can put that down straight away. And he's going to come from fighting all the way through his life. He has fought from underneath. He's always been Dusty's son. He's always been the other Rhodes. He's always been like Dustin Runnels, his fucking little runt brother. He's always been a smaller guy. He's always been in Legacy. He's always been in people's shadows. He's had to go away and fight. We've had this conversation before. The whole reason why Cody Rhodes is a fucking big deal. He is going to have to fight even further from underneath to win this title. And he knows the story for this year will be, okay, it's going to be Bloodline Rules. Right, okay. I know it's coming this time. Last year, when I was wrestling Roman Reigns, it blindsided me. Solo come and fucked me over and done this, that, and the other twice. Now I know that I need to be on the lookout. I know I've got to be against all the odds. I know I have to fight. I've been here once before. It's the Rocky situation. I know what I need to do now in order to get this done, and I'm going to be ready for it. And when that Stone Cold music hits and he runs down and stuns The Rock after all the shenanigans, and Cena comes in and fucking gives the fucking AA to Solo Sikoa, and Diamond Dallas Page runs down and gives fucking Paul Heyman the fucking the fucking whatever, like this, like it's up my ears gonna go off. It's gonna go off. I'm only joking about the Diamond Dallas Page thing, but I'm kind of not at the same time. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw the Diamond Cutter. But all joking aside, like the Rock and Roman are gonna win. It'll be Seth who gets the shit, who gets the pin on him. They'll beat fuck out of Cody, so he's going to be injured and taped up and all that sort of stuff for the second night, and he's going to properly fight from underneath and come from all the way behind, bottom of the ninth, and he's going to do it.
I'm thinking it from a line of
people what they want.
I'm thinking of from my own personal view. The way I would book it is exactly what I said before, and the reason why is I want Cody Rhodes as a heel. Right, this is me personally. I want him as a heel.
Chance.
No, okay, but I want him as a heel. I think he's a significantly better heel than a babyface for me.
Not a chance.
And he's present. We talked about this the other week there, right? In my opinion, I think his presentation leads himself more to a heel than anything. And I can just imagine him getting the pin on Roman Reigns on night 1, losing the title, and then the promo on the next Monday on Raw. I pinned the champion. I should never have been in a tag team match on night 1. I won the Royal Rumble. I should have had a one-on-one match with Roman Reigns blah blah blah, heel turn. Honestly, I can see it in my mind's eye. I can see it. That's how I'd book it. I genuinely don't think he's going to finish the story. And I've said, and I'm not changing my story. I've said that from the Royal Rumble, right? And I've said it before the Royal Rumble. Cody Rhodes will not defeat Roman Reigns when Roman Reigns is about 100 odd days away from beating Hulk Hogan's record. There's no danger WWE is going to take that title off him. Definitely not.
It's Cody is the guy. It's even been fucking Triple H has said it. They're having to go out and drag him out the fucking arena from getting photographs and speaking to people. This might segue quite nicely into the Raw promo that he did. He's paying for people to go to WrestleMania. He's being somebody's best man at their wedding who he doesn't know, and he's paid for the bachelor party. He's taking photographs. He's going to visit people. He's going to see sick children. He is the Cena. He's the John Cena in a suit. That's all it is. There is not a chance in hell that he is going to turn heel after the Raw after Mania or whatever. It's not going to happen. If it does, then I'll okay. I was wrong. Shields, whatever. You crack on, mate. You're way more intelligent than I am, but it's not going to happen. It's Rock and Roman Reigns. There's going to be shenanigans. It's all going to go off. It's going to be one of those matches because The Rock is involved and he can't really go as much as he can anymore. He used to, and all that sort of stuff. It's going to be the NWO against the faces. That's the way that they're going to book it, basically. He is Hulk Hogan in this NWO situation with the bloodline. It's all going to go off. He's going to have to fight all the way from underneath against all of the odds, and he's going to win the belt that they took off his daddy in the garden. And he's not going to do it for Dusty. He's going to do it for himself. And he's going to have Brandy Rhodes on his shoulder in the middle of the ring at WrestleMania like fucking Macho Man or something, and he's going to have Pharaoh there next to him. It's going to be a big ticker-tape moment, fireworks, everything. And he's going to have done it for the people that he loves, not for everybody else. And he's going to draw a good house and a good pay-per-view rate, and he's going to win in the middle with his finish in the main event, just like his daddy would want.
I think, it works. I think both way of going it
does.
Booking wise,
you
could
don't
work.
like him. That's all it is. I don't want him to win because I fucking hate him.
I don't like him as a babyface. I've said that from the get-go. Yeah, but
he's not going to turn heel, mate. He's too far in now. He's too far. He's in too deep. He's in way too deep.
Like you say, it's a nice segue. We forgot to do the Raw section. Let's talk about Raw just now before we go.
I thought we were going to do it in between the two nights. So
okay, that's perfect. Yeah. I thought we were going to do it before WrestleMania. So
fine.
You wanted a portion of the time to talk
pretty quickly. Yeah.
To talk about Monday Night Raw.
I watched it last night. So it was the one with the Wankfest promo in it. Cody's Wankfest promo, which is just I was messaging you at the time, and he said it, and I was like, grab the TV remote, rewind it back a couple of seconds, press play. I was like, yeah, he definitely just said Wankfest. I was like, this is the best thing I've ever heard in my life. So for that promo, you said it was the best promo he's ever done, and you said it was from a slim pool, which is you always have to
antagonize you.
Yeah, I know. Get me hot.
It's definitely his best promo he's done since he's been back. 100%.
I think whoever produced that whole Raw show with those promos went, crack on.
Yeah.
The writers had a night off. And it reminded me, the whole tone and tenor of the show reminded me of an Attitude Era show. Mm-hmm. And it's not because I wanted it to be an Attitude Era show. It actually reminded me of, this is the idea we want to get out of this promo. Here's your 3 bullet points. Now go and make some fucking money. And it happened with the Cody promo. It happened with the Punk, Drew, and Rollins promo, which I think is one of the best 15 minutes of television that I've seen in wrestling for a long time.
Yep.
and then obviously the Rock thing at the end. Cody, Wankfest, amazing. It will go down in history as the Wankfest promo, 1,000,000%. We saw a different side to him, and it was what we wanted to, or what I wanted to see, and I think probably a little bit of what you wanted to see as well.
Yeah.
But we talk about this Punk, Rollins, and Drew thing. They were shooting on the square, 1,000,000%. If you haven't watched it, no spoilers. There will be some spoilers, whatever. Just whatever. You aren't giving much away. There wasn't match results or anything. I am starting to show everybody why I was the chosen one. Who bestowed you with that chosen one moniker, Drew? What virtue of fucking...
What paragon of
virtue bestowed you with that? Go on, say his name. Say his name. Say his name for me, Drew. Like, even Michael Cole was like, oh. Like he just on the go, he's like, oh. That, just them guys. Drew comes out, sits on the fucking commentator's desk, like, don't shoot up my skirt, you perv.
Yeah,
like,
pervert,
like
yeah.
you know, it just everything. Like, you're not the only guy who had to put my name on a shirt to make money. He's referencing Reigns, like, and obviously it's just obviously Rollins comes down and they're all in, like, they're not even involved. Like, Punk isn't in the match. He isn't in the match, and he's still there promoing like he is, like it's a triple threat, and it's just amazing.
You know how good it was? Seth Rollins was the weakest on the mic.
Yep.
In that 3, which is something incredible.
I think Drew was struggling a little bit, but I think Seth's stuff was probably the most written or the most prepared.
Yeah.
The thing where, like, so this is his counting hand, and like Punk got down and started counting with his left, and like Rollins didn't. You could see it on Rollins' face. He like sort of smirked. It's just like, fuck, prick. Like, you like, why?
What was it he said? He goes, "Do you want to know what I think, Punk?" And he goes, "No." It's like, okay.
Yes. Even the crowd were like, yeah, like it was just so good, and you could tell like it was all like they meant most of it. Like it was passive aggressive, like upfront cunt shit. It was fucking brilliant. Yeah. And the bit like I'm not even in the match, and I'm doing what like the WWE, the writers, you guys couldn't, and your wife couldn't do, and that's make like you pair interesting, and then just drops the mic and like fucks off. Like, bye. Yes, that's what we want. We want aggression and like inflammatory comments. We want, because that's not like inside baseball. That's not saying like, oh, you were nasty to me on an indie show in 2012 when I was just breaking it. Like, that is like people. Casual fans will understand that, what he's saying, and it's true. It's true. Like you can say all you want. I haven't been here for 10 years. Like nothing's. The only thing that's changed is like me coming back is a bigger deal than anything you guys have ever done in the last 10 years, and that is true. That's true.
Yeah.
So like it or lump it. Like what you're saying is right. Like do something about it, and that's the best shit, right? Good. The best shit.
There's been a significant shift away from PG, right? Since the takeover.
Because he said dipshit as well, didn't he? Called them pair of dipshits and all that sort of stuff. So there's a couple of swear words in there. Obviously, we can talk about the angle now. How big of a pop, by the way, did The Rock get when he came out in that Cody promo? I think they called an audible in that Cody promo at the start when The Rock came out, because he stepped up to Cody and he said something under his breath. Mm-hmm. And they didn't touch on anything, and Cody sort of like didn't respond. From what I can remember or what I sort of watched, I think The Rock came out and just said like, I'm not going to fucking say anything. Just like, don't say anything. Just put the mic down.
The rumor that I heard online
okay.
was that he whispered, I'm going to make you bleed later.
Ugh.
Yeah. So it's like there was not supposed to, so the rumor was
someone's lip read that
there wasn't supposed to be any color at the end of the show, and that's what got Cody's sort of reaction. It's like, oh, okay. Either or, it fucking worked, right? I mean, it was so good.
By not saying it once again, by not saying anything, it said everything it needed to say. Because you said earlier on the Hogan Rock moment, like for the
Yep.
first 3 minutes
Don't
of that,
say
they
anything.
stood there and done nothing. They didn't touch each other, nothing, and that made it. That started it off. And the fact that he came out, done nothing, they didn't say anything, didn't even touch, didn't even open their mouths, nothing, and then fucked off. It made what happened later on way more impactful. So it was the end of the main event, wasn't it? It was Yeet against Nakamura.
Yeah.
Big schmoz. Everyone comes in. Cody and Solo fight off.
Yes.
And then The Rock blindsides him out of nowhere and just beats the shit out of him out back. And it wasn't, do you know, usually they do like the hold, pull, punch, hold, pull, walking, punch, walking, hold thing. Like he just threw him around because I said to you, like, there's not many roids left in the world. They're all inside of The Rock. Like, The Rock looks
Allegedly.
huge.
Massive.
Absolutely ginormous. Fuck me. He's twice the size of what he was when he was working like last time. He's massive. And it literally made him look like a monster, like beating the fuck out of Cody.
Final boss, man. He's the final
Final
boss.
boss, which I think is quite cool. I know he's been getting a lot of shit for that, but I think that's quite a cool thing. But dude, like you can see the spot as well, like when he hits him against the door of the truck, which is his truck, and The Rock immediately drags the camera away, and you can see Cody. There's like a little bit of a side shot, and you can see Cody, and he's like at the front of the bus, like he's gigging himself. You can see when it happened. It's so clever the way they've done it. Bit of smoke and mirrors and all that sort of stuff, but we saw intentional color on a WWE show.
Unbelievable, right?
The Rock's the boss. You know what the fuck he wants? He's not the. Was it? I'm not the FCC. Like Punk said in his fucking like. No one gives a fuck. You see blood on the UFC. It was after the fucking. I guarantee the film or whatever that was on after or another film that was on another channel at the same time was fucking probably showing people getting blown up. Probably John Wick stabbing people in the fucking eye or something with a pencil. You know what I mean? Like it's a bit of fucking colour. It's a bit of blood. Makes it real, John. It makes it real.
It makes it real, and the difference is it's not done all the time.
Nope.
That's the difference.
Exactly.
You know, it's like what you want
Preach,
to do with
John.
your audience.
Preach to me, baby.
What you want to do with your audience is you want to give them just don't give them what they want to start with and build it and build it and build it. I mean, again, sorry, I'm going back to AEW. I don't want to see fucking Adam Page spraying blood of Swerve Strickland on my TV screen. That's not cool. It's like that's just a fucking mud show bullshit, right? I want to see like someone getting the shit beaten out of them, but it means something. Like you got fucking Moxley, who like it's like fucking. He's got more colour than a rainbow in all these matches, man. It's just fucking. It's just horrific. It's just. It doesn't mean anything anymore. You know, it's like, but like you say, it's the first time you had deliberate blood in WWE. I can't remember the last time that happened. You know,
so I've had a really quick Google. It was banned. Deliberate blading was banned from July 2008 due to its TV PG rating. WWE is not allowed wrestlers to blade themselves. In most cases, any blood coming from wrestlers is unintentional. So 16 years ago. I didn't fucking realize it was that long.
No,
dude, that's crazy.
It's interesting as well, though, right? Because like I was again listening to Jim Cornette podcast. They're talking about, well, what are the TV's deals going to do? They're fucking out in September, around that time. It's like, all right. What are you going to do? Fine.
All right.
All right, okay, on you go. No, but I'm just signed for fucking Netflix, man. It's like, right, so this is what they've got on TV just now, right? What's it going to be like when they've got no, like, TV censors to worry about? They've got nothing like that. I don't think we'll
The
ever
Rock
go
dropped
back
the
to
F-bomb as well, didn't he? There was an audible change in the crowd as well, by the way, when that happened. So I think maybe for a audience initially who is there, that was probably too far. I think the blood was okay. Dipshit, Wankfest is all right, but I think The Rock saying fuck, I think you could hear the parents in the crowd like being disgusted for about 30 seconds afterwards. Everyone was just like,
Would someone please think of the children?
of the children. But dude,
So good, man.
TV14 was the best. It was the best.
100%.
Not for the TNA and all that bullshit. You know what I mean? Not for the whatever. Not for Vinny's little fucking special appearances. TV14 was good because of this stuff. Because of making it real. Dude, we might see a Conor McGregor in the WWE with all this stuff.
Oh, this is going to be so fucking good.
An unfiltered Conor McGregor. Dude, when MJF finally comes across a TV14 unfiltered MJF.
It's fucking, it's
prime.
It's going to happen, man.
It's
going
primed
to happen
for this guy.
It's going to fucking happen. And it's going to be really interesting because this will pull back some of the key demo of 18 to 30 odd year olds coming to
which
WWE.
Are currently on the other channel.
And
a big
not
chunk
as
of
much as they think.
No.
Not as much as they think they are, because that's decreasing over time as well if you look at the metrics.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm really excited to see. It's the
Do you know what I did? Sorry, go on.
No,
I
was going to say, it's the first time I'm really excited about watching like a Raw or a SmackDown. You know, just see what happens. Now, it's not all the show. There's certain segments of the show that I want to watch, but it can only get better, right? It's like with the exposure of like a Cody Rhodes and The Rock or Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, CM Punk, it's going to trickle down. It's got to. You know, it's like it will have a dramatic effect on the rest of the product, and I'm really excited for that.
There's going to be a few people who listen to this show, and you will be surprised as well by what I'm about to say. Okay? I watched this last night, and I fast-forwarded through all of the matches to get to the promo segments. That's not because, like, I mean, I kind of didn't care, but also they didn't care because they didn't really give me much that I wanted to watch anyway. But usually, even if it's people who I don't really into, I will watch the wrestling matches because I am a fan of wrestling. Yeah, but I fast forwarded through all of the bits where there was action, and I watched all of the promo segments. And it's 9 times out of 10, it's the other way around because I find it cringe. But the guys and the way they did it, and they timed it perfectly. They had Punk came out like 5 minutes before the top of the hour as well. So it wasn't into like the 9 o'clock hour. It was just before. So the people who were watching the show before, they would catch and come there for like that. It's just,
it's like they know what they're
chef's
doing.
kiss.
Sometimes the wrestling isn't great, but they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing in terms of TV production, right? WWE.
How good is the roaming camera from backstage through the fucking thing as well, by the way?
Since Kevin Dunn is gone, it's fucking chalk and cheese, man.
Fuck you, be the motherfucker.
It was like the first one we saw was like following Sami Zayn. Like I think I don't know if
it's like Goodfellas.
It was amazing. So the one that I'm thinking about is it followed Sami Zayn from like the ring through Gorilla, and then they followed him all on the corridor, and it went straight into the next segment with the Miz and R-Truth and DIY standing there. It's like that. It's like cinema, man. It's like that's what it is. It's cinema.
I saw the Sami Zayn one, and like I said, there's a Goodfellas, really famous Goodfellas sequence where they go to the club, and he's narrating over the top of that, and they're walking through the club, and they're talking about all those people, and everybody in the club is acting out that scene, and it's a one-take scene, and it's just a continuation all the way through the club, talking about everybody else, and the roaming camera thing, when I was watching it, I was like, this is like the club scene in Goodfellas, like that continuation, and then just lead into something else. Like, dude, there wasn't 57,000 camera cuts and fucking zooming in and fucking out on everything. Like, you know what I mean? It was like, it was shot like you want to see stuff happening.
It's also, even for the action as well, it's not just like, it's not hard cam focused. There's like different angles looking through the ropes and just the TV.
But there's not 100 camera cuts now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's just, it seems like a flawless transition between the different cameras, so it's just incredible. You don't feel sick and you don't seem to miss anything.
It's hard to watch sometimes with
Yeah.
with the stuff. Yeah,
It's like you
I
don't
remember
seem to
watching the
miss-
video actually like ages ago, and they had like a 30-second clip of like an AEW match and a 30-second clip like overlaid of a WWE match, and I think in 30 seconds there was something crazy like fucking 52 camera cuts or something. Like the AEW one, there was like 7 or something, but it was just amazing. It's shot like a sport, right?
So it
Yeah.
should be.
Oh, dude, the times they are changing, man.
Absolutely.
The
Still got
times they
night
are
2 to discuss,
changing.
but do you want to know what I'm
Yes.
really looking forward to? The Raw after Mania, man. So fucking excited. Love it. Fucking love it. Okay, let's go back to WrestleMania. Sunday, night 2, WrestleMania 40. Just as an FYI, so me and Hoxie, we probably aren't going to watch night 1 together. I don't think it's in the cards, but like we'll discuss it when we're going to watch it. So we're going to watch Saturday on the Sunday, and then Sunday we're going to potentially watch it on the Monday.
On the Monday, yeah.
Don't know how you feel about potentially doing it on stream.
The thing that I'm worried about doing it on stream, and I was thinking about this today, actually. The thing that I'm worried about doing it on stream is if some Jeb end comes in,
Spoils it.
and spoils it. Because I've had that happen before on a watch.
We're not going to watch it on stream.
I've done it for Royal Rumble, and someone came in and was a dickhead. So
we're not watching it on stream then.
There you go.
Cool.
We can maybe record it potentially as a watch along. I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see what we do.
Yeah.
I definitely want to utilize Twitch a bit more. I want to do watch alongs live and stuff.
Yeah.
But we'll just need to organize shit like that. But that's fine. It'd be cool to get one day where we watch like all the big shows if we can. Like fast forward it through like some of the shit and just watch the matches and stuff. That'd be cool. Like AEW as well.
Yep.
Okay, let's go back to night 2, Hoxie. Okay. First up on the card is going to be Bobby Lashley and Street Profits, Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins versus Final Testament, Karrion Kross and the Authors of Pain, Akam and Razar.
The Final Testament is one of the worst tag team names I've ever heard in my life.
Terrible stable name, right? It's fucking
They
awful.
have, yeah,
Horrendous.
they've shit the bed with Karrion Kross again. Yeah. He should be one of their big stars, like their top, not like their main guy. He should be in that mix of like top tier level talent for me.
He should be a legit challenger for the Seth title. Never winning that potentially, but in that mix. Yeah.
Yep, 100%. That presentation with him and Scarlett, and him just like mowing through motherfuckers, like that NXT presentation, late NXT Karrion Kross. Just do that, but main show shit, and just let him get over. The Authors of Pain, I always thought they were a decent tag team, like a big guy tag team. I think they're in the wrong generation. I think the way they work and the way they present themselves leads to more of maybe an 80s or a 90s presentation. The whole thing, it's not real. I think people buy into like real shit now, like in terms of personalities and stuff. They haven't really got that.
The Paul Ellering fucking thing doesn't help either, to be fair.
It just don't get it. I'll be brutally honest. Could not give a fuck about this match at all.
Yeah, I'm the same. If I'm going to go, I'll probably put Bobby Lashley and Street Profits. I think
will MVP be in their corner?
Don't think so.
No.
MVP was more Omos. He was like managing Omos.
The
big Nigerian fucking brute.
I'm glad he's not on the fucking card.
Yeah. For me, I'm going to say Bobby Lashley and Street Profits are going to go over. Yeah. But if Scarlett's on my screen, I don't really care.
Heard that. I'm looking forward to this next match. It's Bobby Lashley and Street Profits. Yeah.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah.
Right, okay, let me note that down. Okay, next match, LA Knight. Yeah. Versus AJ Styles. That's going to be a cracking match.
It's going to be great.
So good.
This is a proper WrestleMania exhibition wrestling match. This is what this is going to be. I don't think there's going to be any shenanigans or bullshit. LA Knight can work. AJ Styles is one of the best to ever do it. Put them together, let them go out and have 15 minutes and let the magic happen. It's going to be a great match. LA Knight has to win for me. It's going to be a strong showing by both of them, but LA Knight will get it in the middle with his finish. 1, 2, 3.
There's a story there, right? It's like LA Knight was the guy that took AJ's spot when AJ got taken out by the Bloodline. AJ interfering in the match at Elimination Chamber. AJ Styles is tippity top, blue chipper, fucking phenomenal athlete, phenomenal pro wrestler. LA Knight is a great money, fucking just money personified. And I reckon the only reason he is not in the main event picture is because there's 2 similarities between him and The Rock in terms of promo. Like if you shut your eyes, with LA Knight doing a promo.
Yeah, I think if The Rock hadn't come back, like if The Rock wasn't in the picture, he'd be in a more featured spot, 1,000,000%.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
AJ Styles hasn't won in like 200 odd days or something like that. I think it's something crazy. He hasn't won in a long time, and he's still
strong.
Yeah, he's still a legitimate threat. AJ Styles is what Chris Jericho should be in AEW. You know what I mean? In terms of in-ring a bit, obviously Chris Jericho's older and he can't go as much, but it's that similarity I'm talking about. He should have that same sort of solid matches, great athleticism, etc. It's like
plug him into anywhere.
Exactly. Put him in anywhere. He can do any sort of style of match. He's got the ability on the mic, which AJ does. AJ's definitely got a whole lot better.
Got a lot better, yeah.
Win or lose, he can still look like an absolute champ. But yeah, LA Knight wins that for me. I think it just naturally it books that way, right? In terms of,
and it sort of sets him into that period after as that will put him into the picture above then, won't it? You know what I mean? That'll put him into that next level. Yeah,
absolutely. So for me, LA Knight. Yeah. Next up is, for me, probably the match that's going to steal the show on night 2. It's the United States Championship triple threat: Logan Paul versus Randy versus Kevin Owens.
This could be a sleeper match for the whole talk, like the whole 2 days. This we could be talking on the Monday, like this is the match of the weekend. You know what I mean? And Logan Paul, he was the best in this match. How does that work? Like that's I can see that conversation happening. I'm not like willing it into existence, if you know what I mean, but I think he could come out of this as the name from the whole weekend. Or like one, you mean like, oh my God, I can't believe Logan Paul has done this, or I can't believe how good he was in there with Randy, because they both like him. He's worked with Kevin before. They've had good matches before. Randy loves him. They can all work. There's going to be a big spot. There's going to be a big RKO, isn't there? Is Randy going to win? Potentially. If I was going to put anything on there, I think Randy comes out of this the winner for me. I think Randy Orton wins the US Championship.
Yeah, I think Randy is going to do what John Cena done with the US title.
Take it and run with it and introduce a couple of guys.
Introduce
big matches.
Guys,
Yeah.
How do you feel about Braun Breaker beating Randy Orton for the US title?
I'd be bang up for that. I think it's a good way to bring him in. Randy could teach him a lot. If Randy likes him, he will put him over big time. That's a great shout.
Yeah.
Great shout.
Yeah, I reckon Randy goes
US
over.
title on Raw or SmackDown?
SmackDown.
So it's Braun's on SmackDown, isn't he? So yeah, you can see it.
So's Randy on SmackDown. So
you can see it happening.
I definitely agree with you. There's going to be a massive spot. I reckon Logan is going to be going for like a frog splash, and it's going to be like
one of his big springboards. It's going to be the Roman Reigns, Logan Paul, Riyadh like shot, but he's going to be getting getting RKO'd out of his boots.
I'm there for it.
Yeah,
again,
dude.
Logan is one of the best to do it, man. He like in terms of like people coming into the business. We've said that all along. Big. I never thought I'd be a massive fan. He gets it,
dude. Like he literally like gets it. All of it.
But he's respectful, right? It's like he'll go there, he'll listen, he'll he'll take the lead from a Randy and a Kevin Owens, who are both really experienced and tenured. And again, comparisons to AEW. This is what the young guys should be doing there, right? It's like they should be listening to the CM Punks, the
Regardless
Edge, the Christians.
of a big deal they think they are.
They
They're
think
not a
they
big
are,
deal in
exactly.
wrestling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, I agree. I think Randy Orton's going to go over. Kevin Owens is going to look strong as fuck as usual. Logan Paul's still going to come out looking like a champ. Yeah, fucking match of the night, definitely. And I think you're probably
Potential.
right. Match of the entire weekend.
Big potential for it. Yep.
Okay, WWE Women's Championship: Io Sky versus Bayley.
Bayley has to win.
Yeah,
She's done everything they've asked for her. She's done everything they've asked of her and more. I think I don't usually like using this term. I think I've said this before, but she deserves it. I mean, if there's anybody who sort of deserves the recognition or you deserve this, Bayley, for what you've done for us, and like, you know what I mean, this is for you. She's tenured. She's one of the Women's Revolution guys. Everything she's done, she's really good at. She's a great worker. She's a great mind for the business. Helps put everybody over. Does everything she needs to do. It's written in the stars. The whole turn. The damage control. There'll be some shenanigans. Once again, she'll come out on top. So I see Bayley winning.
I think she definitely deserves it after. Disrespect's the wrong word, but she won the Women's Rumble, man. Like, there's nothing been done with that. You know, no one gives a shit.
Said fuck all about anything. Yeah.
Poor fucker.
Yeah.
It's like she was in there from the get-go and she wins the entire fucking thing and no one mentions it. Poor bitch. Oh, man.
Oh, dear.
Io Sky can work though, right? Like she's great in the ring, and I think her and Bayley are going to have an absolute stormer as well.
All those ex-Stardom Japanese girls, Yasuka's, your Kairi Sane's, your Io Sky's, like fucking hell, whoever, Tony Storm as well. I mean, that was like slightly different, but like all these guys, girls who came through that sort of Japanese setup can go, and Io Sky is fucking brilliant. She's one of the best out of them, and she's a smaller girl, but she doesn't come across as a smaller talent. She fights big. She makes herself look like a badass, and she's double hard. So yeah, it'll be a good match. But Bayley with a win.
Yep, I agree with that. Then moving on to the penultimate match, World Heavyweight Championship: Seth Rollins versus Drew McIntyre with CM Punk and commentary, which I'm really looking forward to. It's going to be great.
I think Rollins wins, and they keep it.
I think Drew.
Do you think there's going to be a Drew and a cash in?
Potentially, yeah.
That's the only way I see Drew winning is a Drew and a cash in.
I still maintain Seth needs time off. I think he's fucked. Like his body is fucked. I just don't see him going through another sort of feud with the body in the state he's in. He's lucky he's there with the knee injury he had. He's back as well, documented that it's fucked. Drew, I think the work that Drew's done in since the Rumble has been fucking phenomenal in terms of his mic work. Now, obviously, he said there was having issues against Punk on like a non-scripted stuff, which is understandable, but the stuff he's done, even on his social media stuff, I reckon it's a shoe-in. He gets his WrestleMania moment again in front of a crowd this time, and we've talked about CM Punk, how his injury's doing. He says he's better than ever. You know, it's healing nicely. It's set up so nicely for a Drew McIntyre versus CM Punk, so CM Punk gets that belt. I don't see much past Drew McIntyre winning this, to be fair.
Can you not see Rollins winning, and then Punk and Rollins have a feud, but they don't wrestle each other until SummerSlam? Because they don't need to wrestle each other to have a feud.
I would agree, but Seth's still got to do something, right? Can you see Seth with the injuries he's dealing with?
He's got 3 or 4 months left. 3 or 4 months left until dude, everybody works hurt.
Yeah, that's true.
If he's injured, it's differently. if it's hurt, everybody works hurt. And if he's got 3.5 months to chill and rehab and get himself in a better place before he has a big match against CM Punk at SummerSlam,
Potentially, yeah. But,
or they do another tag gimmick bullshit at a fucking Riyadh show or whatever, a showdown or something. You know what I mean? Whatever. For me, the money, so that the business, the money is in Seth and Punk. So Seth retains, and they build to SummerSlam, and it'll be Seth against Punk at a baseball stadium, 40,000 people at SummerSlam, and Punk will win.
I can
That's
see it
the
going
money.
that way. Yeah,
That's the
yeah.
business.
No, I would agree. Yeah, I would
that's
agree.
the money. I can see what you're saying about Drew. I'm not like a massive Drew fan, and I'm not a massive.
Yeah,
I don't like Drew. You mean whatever? I'm sort of, it's a bit vanilla for me. Yeah. So the money, the business, the same way as it would have been tonight, tonight on this night, would have been Seth and Cody. Fuck me, Seth
and Punk.
and CM Punk. They just do that, sort it out, and they've got 3.5 months to build it. When is SummerSlam? When is SummerSlam this year? Go on. What were you going to say?
It's interesting because I would say I would agree with you. Long-term money is definitely Seth and CM Punk, but short-term money, the Drew and CM Punk storyline writes itself.
August the 3rd, is it the Cleveland fucking Browns Stadium? So it's a stadium show. It's another fucking Wrestlemania. How many people? What's the capacity? The record attendance, and this is for the Steelers. So this is without the ground, the ground bits. It's 73,718. So you take away the entrance, put all those people. You're going to be looking at 70,000 people.
Yeah.
The money for that is. Oh, but Logan Paul is going to be the draw for that. Logan Paul might retain. I think Logan Paul might retain. Sorry, I'm just going to go back.
You want to go back?
Yeah, Logan Paul might retain. It's Cleveland's Logan's place, isn't he?
Yeah.
I don't know. Randy, fuck it, keep it the same, but we can put an asterisk by that. We'll edit either bit out way. Yeah. But yeah, so I think Rollins wins. They've got 4 months then to build to the big match at SummerSlam at the Cleveland Brown Stadium, and CM Punk will go over at a stadium show.
I'm still going for Drew for me, but the ace up the sleeve is the cash in.
Yeah.
Is
there any? They've 1,000,000% shit the bed by giving Damian Priest that briefcase.
Yeah,
because he's nowhere. There is nowhere that he will be able to fit in any of this apart from just taking a belt, because they will have to have something going on to get rid of him having the belt to get it back.
Yeah, I just don't. I don't think he will cash it in, but I don't know how they're going to. I mean,
Drew wins. He cashes it on Drew. Drew and Damian have the backlash thing. Then Rollins comes back for his rematch and beats Drew, and then Drew and Punk at SummerSlam. Like, that's messy? It's really Lionel Messi, isn't it? It's disgusting. So
I'm also going to say something here.
Go on.
We've got Clash of the Castle in Scotland in
June.
June, July.
Drew having the belt. I don't know.
I think everything is pointing to a Drew McIntyre win here. I agree with you. Seth Rollins and Punk is money, but I reckon that is further down the line. That's next year's WrestleMania.
You think?
As it should have been this year? Yeah, 100%. Again, this leads into, if we're talking about SummerSlam, this leads into the final match, the undisputed WWE Universal Championship, Reigns versus Rhodes. The match at SummerSlam will be essentially for Reigns. If Reigns retains, I think he will, as I've already said, SummerSlam will be the point in which he beats Hogan's record. And You know, it's. I think we all know who you think is going to go over, and I think we know who I think is going to go over.
I said it's a one. It's all one. It's all heart.
Yeah,
Genuinely, like, not. I am talking about this now, and for the first time in a long time since, well, not a massive long time, but within the WWE, I am talking about this purely as a fan, not as like a whatever we do here as a I mean a guy chatting about wrestling and trying to work out all the ins and outs and stuff. I am talking about this outcome and what I want to happen and what I hope happens purely 100% with my heart, because I want it to happen. I don't want to be like, oh, I don't know, like with other matches, it's like, yeah, if this happens in the case of okay, well, this will happen. Like, Cody is going to fight from underneath, and he's going to beat all of the odds, and he's going to win the title that they took off his daddy at the Garden. And I don't care about the finish the story bullshit. I think that's the finish the story thing is really, really fucking past its sell by date now for me. It's like Cody it's Cody's time. It's Cody's time to be the guy. And I know we're talking about Hogan's run and we're talking about Roman being the guy and all this, that, and the other. Cody, will the title make the man, or will the man make the title? Is Cody still going to be a same draw if he does if Cody doesn't win this, he is at risk of shit in the bed, or they're at risk of shit in the bed with him. They really are. He has to win this time. I mean, they fucked it up last time, but did they really fuck it up because of how good it is now? Whatever, there's an argument for both, but he has to be the guy, and to go the way that he's going and to do what he needs to do, he has to win this title this year, and I hope he does. God, I want him to.
yeah. I could understand if he wins it. I think he needs to. Again,
Yeah.
I've always said it. For me, he'll never be the guy. He'll be a guy. Again, that's just my personal opinion. I still don't get it. As I've said before, his promo on Raw the last couple of weeks have been really, really good, and it sort of bought me into it a little bit. But for me, it's just, yeah, I just don't see it. I just don't see him winning this title, especially at this WrestleMania. I think everything is written. There's just
You
been
shut your
such a-
dirty whore mouth. You shut that dirty whore mouth right now.
It's like I'm not doing this just to be controversial. This is genuinely from the get go.
You're not being inflammatory.
Nah, not at all. It's like,
If you've been inflammatory, you would be like being a dickhead.
yeah,
But
exactly.
yeah,
He's a dick. But yeah, it's just I would be again. I'm thinking it from like the WWE standpoint. The amount of fucking promotion they've put into Roman Reigns being the longest reigning, and for him to be so close to such an obvious record as Hogan's. You know, Hogan, who we've already said is probably one a biggest star of all time, right? For him to be so close to that mantle and not get over the line, I just think that's crazy business. Crazy business if they don't do it, if they don't pull the trigger. Because no one's going to be in that position. Cody Rhodes isn't going to go on a 1,400-day streak.
What does it mean, though?
But we're talking about WWE, right? We always say, oh, but this is WWE. This is a WWE thing, right? It's all about the records, right? It's about...
It is when they make it.
But
Because they don't think about this. I'm not saying this to like try and justify
No, it's fine.
an
Yeah,
opinion.
that's what it's about.
This
It's
is
about
just
discussion,
like
right?
this is just another observation. If it was that important, they would be like, oh well, Roman Reigns, he's the champ, but he still hasn't beat Hulk Hogan, or he still hasn't beat Bruce Sammartino, or when he just got the belt, oh he hasn't had it as long as fucking Kofi Kingston had it. Oh god, like you can make it what you know what I mean? Oh, he's only had it a minute. Rey Mysterio had it for fucking 24 hours. Like they can make however they want to make it, regardless of how long someone's had it. There'll always be someone who's had it longer. There's always going to be someone who's had it shorter. Can you see Roman Reigns in the history of wrestling, being one of the most influential people in the history of WWE? No. So I don't think it makes that much difference. it would be a cool thing to have and I think it might be a good thing for the WWE to want to get rid of Hogan's name in there for obvious reasons. But they've just done a promo package with him at Royal Rumble, so it can't be that bad.
But they've also done a promo package with him talking about how great Roman Reigns is.
Yeah,
in the Roman Reigns documentary.
And do you know what, mate? I can just as easily see it happening than not, because it's the way they do stuff. They do stuff sometimes just for the sake of doing it, or to do stuff to do it. I'm right though, right? They do it that way, okay? But like I said, I and I'm not saying this like as like an uber Cody mark. I'm not like, he's not like my favorite wrestler ever. I'm not like, I haven't got a fucking nightmare fucking tattoo on my neck, but I mean, all that sort of bullshit. Like, I'm not that I think he's everything that I want in a babyface in a modern WWE, in modern wrestling. Him and like Punk was everything I wanted in a babyface in AEW when he was doing that stuff. Cody is everything that I want now, and I think Cody is what the WWE needs right now. They need to change. They need to change, and I know people say, "Oh, well, it's not stale," because obviously they're selling out, and I think on the Raw there was like the 11th consecutive TV sellout, and like I get they're doing really big business, but I think the change now would just be like another gear, just skyrocket, because they're not making money because of Reigns. They're making money because of everything. Everything's firing on all cylinders. It's like not like Stone Cold being like the guy selling all the merch. Like Reigns, I guarantee Reigns isn't top of the merch selling table. I guarantee Reigns is not top of the TV ratings like table. A, because he's not on TV very often, but I bet you when he is, he's not the top segments, or he'll be in the top segments with the guys who are usually in the top segments. You know, does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I get you. I get you. Yeah.
I don't know.
But again, we just don't know.
We don't know,
right?
And that's the cool
it's
thing.
Like, to be fair, like last year, we would have said it was a shoo-in that Cody Rhodes was going to beat Roman Reigns.
Yeah, I was fuming when it didn't.
Yeah, you were absolutely raging.
I watched it with like some of the wrestling guys, and the mood in the room was just like everybody in the room was just like, what?
Just deflated.
Like one of the guys, his missus come in, she was like, "What's up?" And he was like, "Fucking Cody lost." Like she was like, yeah. Like everyone was like, you just don't get it. Like it's just like she was like, "Why are you guys so miserable?" We're like, "It's just shit." Like it was really bad. You know what I mean? But it's I'll probably be like absolutely mortified if he doesn't this time. We'll definitely record it because we'll get reactions and it'll be quite fun. Get reactions either way.
I would understand if Cody went over, right? But I just don't see it happening. And I'll put an asterisk in because you've had an asterisk earlier on today. If Cody wins at Mania, he loses at SummerSlam.
To who?
He'll lose to
The Rock. To The Rock. Who beats The Rock? Roman Reigns.
At Mania. I'm telling you. That's my asterisk of the rest.
Yeah, I mean, dudes, like, yeah, I'll agree with that. I'll go with that.
Yeah. So that's a WrestleMania 40 card. Went through, Hoxie.
Though, mate.
Such a good.
Honestly, like I said, dude, like I've known you for a couple of years now, but we've never had this much of an. We know we met through wrestling.
Yep.
Like we've never had. Obviously, we've never done a podcast before, but even before that, we've never had this much of like an in-depth opinion about a WWE or a Mania or like a WWE show. It's like, dude,
it's exciting. It is really. Like I'm almost 40 years old. I'm actually excited about WrestleMania. It's fucking ridiculous, right?
I was saying this to my mate today on the phone, who listens to this sometimes. He's not a wrestling fan, but he listens to this because A, he likes supporting the podcast, and B, he thinks that we do a good job of speaking to people who don't understand wrestling as well, which I think is quite nice of him to say. But I said I feel like I'm like fucking 14 again or something. Like watch like waiting for WrestleMania fucking 17 or something. You know what I mean? Just like, oh my god, I can't wait to see who wins between The Rock and Stone Cold. Like, I feel like that. I feel like a kid. It's fucking so good, so good. Like, so when it's good, mate, there's fucking nothing better.
I mean, you touched upon it earlier on when you talked about the tag team match, the possibility of Austin coming down, John Cena. It's like
I hope we see Gilbert.
Will Taker make an appearance? Because there's rumours that he's been asked to make an appearance as well. It's like, it's fucking, honest to God, this, I know it's the tagline, but it is genuinely the biggest WrestleMania of all time, right? It's like...
There's potential to be
phenomenal.
One of some of the most memorable stuff as well. Yeah. Dude.
We picked a great time to start a podcast, Hoxie.
Honestly, we did. We really, really did. It's my little boy's fucking second birthday as well on Monday. He's going to be 2 years old, Lowen. He's going to be 2 years old. Love you, boy. So I've got all that going on. We've got a party on Sunday for him. I'm going to fit him watching WrestleMania on Sunday, and then we'll sort something out for the Monday to get it all sorted and stuff. It's going to be...
Happy birthday to Lowen.
It's going to be so sick. I can't wait.
I can't wait, man, honestly. So yeah, that is our discussion about CM Punk and the Ariel Helwani interview, and also our WrestleMania 40.
Dude, we've done 3 hours, right?
Without a list.
Imagine if we had to put a list on there as well. We'd literally be a 4.5 hour podcast easy. Not even...
carnage.
Oh, we would have had to rush through everything, and we wouldn't want to do that.
No, we don't want to do that.
That's to give the people what they want.
Indeed. The list will return, do not worry. We're probably going to have a good shit segment as well. Who knows? Next week's episode will be obviously going through WrestleMania. We'll review our predictions. We'll talk through, we'll discuss it. And obviously we're going to do the top 10 lists of baby faces. As ever, guys, if you like the podcast, please hit 5 stars. Share it with a friend because it does help out with the
algorithm.
Thank you, Mr. Hoxie. If you want to email us your list or your predictions for WrestleMania, please do it wrestlemark10@gmail.com. You could also tweet us at mark_out of 10. Also on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram at markout of 10. Yeah, from Shields, have a very, very great WrestleMania.
And from Hawksy, have an amazing weekend, and I can't wait to catch up with you guys next week. Let's go.